is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Monday, the 18th of November, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. At 1:30 p.m. today, Monday, the House of Representatives will meet to debate 5 new nominees proposed to be members of the Police Service Commission. The order paper lists the nominees as Dr. Wendell Wallace, Anika Fritz Brown, Ethel Hector Barkley, Roger Baburam, and Ian Kevin Ramdani, the latter being a member of the former commission. Reports say the term of the former commission members, retired Judge Judith Jones, Maxine Atong, Maxine King, Rajiv Prasad, and Ramdani, expired on November 15th. The names will come to the House as notifications from the President after consultation with the Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition, in line with Section 122 of the Constitution. The Commission is responsible for the appointment and oversight of Commissioner of Police and Deputy Commissioners. The House will debate the finance bill to provide up to the year end as a waiver of any penalties and interest and sums owed under the Registration of Clubs Act, the National Insurance Act, the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, the Stamp Duty Act, and the Property Tax Act. Former Deputy of the Central Bank economist Dr. Terence Farrell is voicing an unpopular opinion that the salaries of the President, the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, and others in Parliament should be increased. Dr. Farrell said while there is much criticism as the proposed figures in the Salary Review Commission's report laid in Parliament on Friday, the wage hikes are long overdue. He said, quote, "Your top echelon of people who are the best and qualified and most competent. Your permanent secretaries are running a ministry with thousands of people inside it responsible for budgets of hundreds of millions, and you want to pay them $35,000 a month. It's ridiculous," he said. Despite Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley's September telling the nation to hold the fort, as this year until the second quarter of 2027 will be a period of difficulty, Farrell does not think the country is unable to pay its high-ranking public officials more money. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service continues to face significant distrust and lack of public confidence from the general population. A recent survey showed 47% of people were very dissatisfied and 22.9% dissatisfied, for a total adverse rating of 70% on how the Commissioner of Police deals with corruption in the TTPS. The survey also found 36% of respondents were dissatisfied with the police based on their interactions with the TTPS. The survey also showed 17.1% were dissatisfied, giving a total negative rating of 53.1%. Conversely, 8.3% were satisfied and 20.8% of people were satisfied, a total positive rating of 29.1%. Public Trust and Confidence and Satisfaction survey was done in 2023 with 2,051 people and organizations by the Police Service Commission to determine the extent to which the police service in TNT had an impact on the citizenry, and were recorded in the Police Service Commission 2023 annual report, which was laid in the House of Representatives on Friday. The Water and Sewage Authority reveals the resumption of operations at the Point Lisa's desalination plant following a planned shutdown for critical maintenance. The plant was restarted November 16th, one day ahead of schedule. WASA says customers in Central and South Trinidad who had been affected by the plant maintenance shutdown of the facility's restart at 5 p.m. on Saturday. At a media conference at the Point Lisa's plant on November 7th, the Salcott Acting General Manager Rajesh Ragoobarsingh said the work during the shutdown, including cleaning tanks and wells, repairing cracked concrete infrastructure, repairing sludge cleaning mechanisms, and upgrading the communications network. In sport, cricket, West Indies unveils the West Indies test squad for the 2-match series against Bangladesh. The home series is scheduled for November 22nd to December 4th in 2024 in Antigua and Jamaica. Led by Craig Braffett, the squad features a mix of seasoned, informed players and fresh talent. The informed Justin Graves is the squad's following a sensational run in the CG United Super 50 Cup, where he smashed 3 centuries. His recent performances have been a highlight for the domestic season. And the BBC is reporting Chinese leader Xi Jinping is willing to work with incoming U.S. President Donald Trump in his final meeting with the current U.S. leader Joe Biden. President Xi said a stable relationship between China and the U.S. is critical for both parties and the world. The two met recently on the sidelines of the annual Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Peru, where they acknowledged ups and downs in relations over Biden's 4 years in office. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
It is the 18th day of November. All right, 37 days to Christmas. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital Full Casting. You just heard from Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We've got Ruben and Shane in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. 25 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 24 at Crown Point in Tobago. And, of course, yesterday had an adverse weather alert, but it was discontinued. All right, so take note of that. It was discontinued. They updated their weather for today. They have the Met Office says partly cloudy periods with light to moderate showers will likely interrupt fair conditions. There's a 40 to 60% chance of these showers becoming heavy and or thundery at times from late morning. All right, so that's your weather forecast today. Traffic-wise, nothing. Just going to Freeport to Chase Village to Sugarguanets. You've got some traffic. Good morning to you, Paul. What's happening?
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Wendell.
Morning, Steve. Morning, Paul. Morning, Richard. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. A clear morning. I had rain. I had water in places that I don't normally have water. I went outside just now. I don't know where that rain came from yesterday, and it had to be accompanied by a lot of wind to get water in those places that I found water this morning. You understand?
I was some 2 hours of some good rain yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, and I panicked because I have a pool table that's covered down with good tarpaulin, and it was filled with water. And I said, my goodness, I've never seen water here before. So I panicked because water can find a way of seeping through anything, regardless of how thick. So anyway. But it was a terrible day yesterday. I'm seeing even some posts on Facebook in Barataria and so on. They said the flooding was bad.
Yeah, Maritime Roundabout was flooded.
Well, your councillor posted pictures just now, Steve, of how bad it was in some parts of her.
Yeah, it was from QREP. Because I was in QREP when it started to rain until it ended. I couldn't run to the car. But that was some serious rain.
Paul, did something freeze there?
I'm in the office this morning and the internet is terrible.
Yeah, he's in the office. Yep, that is... I don't know where that is.
That's Barataria.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the by the bus route. It's quite dusty around that area too when I passed this morning, so put up your glasses as you pass through. Pull up your windows.
Yeah, I would imagine. There was a huge WASA exercise on the PBR right there by you, Paul, by Mount Hope. I don't know what it was, but they had to divert traffic.
It was into a broken main that they were fixing that was leaking water for a while. Oh, this is Barataria heading down.
Yeah.
It's really bad yesterday. So much so that, what do you call those huge separators, concrete separators, ended up in the middle of the road, middle of the bus route.
Serious? Oh my goodness.
Fortunately, they moved it pretty quickly, so.
Yeah.
Water moved that.
Water moved that.
That's those separations there that you're showing there?
One of the singular ones, not the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what Barataria looked like yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, that was 2 hours of pounding rain.
Yeah, and it's only until you sent the alert, Steve, I realized something is up because the whole place just got very dark.
Yeah. I sent the alert and I was going, and then I'm outside and it's hot sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, I showered and head to the folks, and then it just got dark, and then the rain started, and I said, whoa.
Yeah, it was
But
kind
then
of...
the weather alert was discontinued.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's discontinued now.
Yeah. All right, well, I hope they didn't do too much damage to anyone. Let me get my birthdays out of the way. Larry Charles, if you don't know Larry Charles, you should know him. You know, he's that snow cone vendor by QRC who's been there for like 200 years.
Yeah.
The
Happy
family.
birthday, Larry.
So Larry's celebrating his birthday today. Pass on, well, he might even give you a snow cone. Sometimes he gives me. But they always there having a little lime. So happy birthday, Larry. Derek Valley. Everybody knows Derek Valley too. You know that store in the airport and in most places where you go, where there's a lot of souvenirs, Trini stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of his store, but he's the owner of that store. Happy birthday, Derek. Michelle Perez, George Clark. George is a good friend of mine. George got married today on this day, maybe about 200 years ago too. Happy birthday, George, and happy anniversary at the same time. But today is actually the day before November 1989. Everybody will remember that day, right? With that Trinidad versus USA match at the Oval, at the Savannah, the stadium,
Yeah.
National Stadium. Today is also the birthday of William Douglas and Vibert Chang, Carice Booker, and it would have been Marlene McDonald's birthday. It's also the birthday of Sherilyn Murray and Lystra Nurse, all right? Yesterday was Tracy Lewis's birthday, and yesterday was also the birthday of Luan Mooking. Belated birthday greetings, Luan Mooking. And I hope you had an absolutely wonderful day. All right? Those are my birthday greetings.
I just have one Wendy James out in Grand Riviere. They know as of Le Grand Almandier.
I haven't been up that side in ages.
Yeah, makes two of us.
But yeah, Saturday, guys, I went. My nephew surprised me. Well, not surprised me because he did tell me he was buying 2 tickets for me to go to Burning Spear. Now, Burning Spear is one of the last of the legends of reggae in Jamaica, right? Last surviving legends of reggae in Jamaica. He must be close to 80, if not in his 80s. But he came to perform his second time he's ever performing in Trinidad and Tobago. And the show was done at Scallywag Bay in Chaguaramas. Now, I haven't been down that side in ages. I've never been to Five Islands or Scallywag or any one of those parks down there, right? Never been to it. So I went down there on Saturday. And brother man, I think I went to the best reggae concert I've ever been to in Trinidad and Tobago. I really think so. The song system was absolutely flawless. And Burning Spear stood on stage from 10:30 to 1:30 a.m., 10:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. 3 hours of probably the best and most flawless performance I would have ever experienced. Thank you very much, whoever organized that concert. They did a fantastic job. Parking was always an issue down there because there's no established car park. So you're kind of parking by the seaside. And but the venue was nice, the layout was nice, and everything was perfect in that concert. Thank you very much, and thank my nephew for giving me those tickets because I have never seen Burning Spear perform live, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was excellent.
Congratulations to Miss Denmark. She won Miss Universe over the weekend.
Oh, she did?
It wasn't a controversial win because I saw a couple posts saying that Nigeria and Thailand were ahead.
Back to basics. Very slim, blonde, blue eyes, Scandinavian look. Back to Miss Universe basics.
All right.
Trinidad and Tobago would have copped Miss Congeniality in a preliminary competition. So congratulations to them all. And of course, over the weekend there was much conversation about the Salary Review Commission's recommendation for salary increases for high-ranking public officials, including the Prime Minister, or the President, the Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, parliamentarians with portfolio, parliamentarians without portfolio, et al.
Is that something new that come up again? Because didn't we just have this discussion the other day when I said forget everybody else and give local government people?
Sent a report before that the Minister of Finance said had several anomalies. So he sent it back for review, and this is the review that came back.
But everything was also increased in this review, not so?
I don't know about everything, but the significant office holders were increased. The Prime Minister getting about $25,000 more, which would result in $1 million back pay, and President getting an increase, the opposition getting an increase, MPs getting increases, senators getting increases. Of course, the public was very upset in many cases, saying that, well, we're supposed to be holding strain now, in the words of the Prime Minister, till 2027.
Well, they were upset by the Prime Minister. I didn't see them comment on anything else.
No, the general consensus was that these public officials should be holding strain like the rest of the population. Of course, the Prime Minister will get the most attention because he's the Prime Minister.
Exactly.
So it's not that they were commenting on all.
They need to give it to local government people. I said that last time, and I'm maintaining that.
And one person, a very prominent voice, has come out and said that he knows it's going against the grain of the commentary. Dr. Terence Farrell says you can't expect people at that level not to be getting salaries. The country can't afford it because of a few people. But I think the sentiment of the 4% and 5% offered by the government, the slight public sector minimum wage increase, and the comments of the Prime Minister some weeks ago about holding strain till 2027 and difficult times, kind of is, as I said, it's a bitter pill to swallow for the general public that high-ranking officials are getting more money, are proposed to get more money, let me say. Cabinet still has to approve it, while the rest of the population is being told to hold strain.
Yeah, but it will always be a bitter pill.
Always.
Always. You understand?
You're absolutely right. But in particular now, where people are going through these forex challenges and economic woes and high food prices, and it's particularly difficult now.
Sometimes I feel these reports are released to provoke the public. That's how I feel sometimes about them, It's like if the public under so much pressure, let me get them more. So release this thing. Because
the cabinet has to approve of it for it to become a reality. So we'll see what the cabinet does.
Give it to local government.
One recurring name for the Police Service Commission will be debated today in the House.
What's that?
I think piloted. Their new name, but there's a new iteration of the Police Service Commission on the horizon. Dr. Wendell Wallace, who is a criminologist attached to UE, Amika Fitz-Brown, who I don't know, Ethel Hector Barkley, who I don't know, Roger Barbaran, who I don't know, and Ian Kevin Ramdani, who was a member of the just passed commission, is being nominated again to replace retired Judge Julius Jones, Maxine Atong, Maxine King, Rajiv Prasad. Their term expired on November 15th. I understand they were in the process of assessing 10 persons who've offered themselves the position of Commissioner of Police. So that will be debated in the House today. They put out a report.
The people who they are being proposed to replace, weren't they also brand new?
4 of the 5. Oh no, those were brand new also, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's true.
They served one term 3 years, and now this is a new, except one iteration of the commission. It's quite interesting that they did a survey. This commission, that is with a sample of 2,051 people, that looked at how the public felt. The public trust, confidence, and satisfaction survey was done last year, and organizations by the Police Service Commission to determine the extent to which the police service had an impact on citizenry, and it was reported in the 2023 Police Service Commission Annual Report, which was tabled in the House on Friday. Interestingly enough, and not surprising to me because we get the feedback all the time, the survey showed 47% of people were dissatisfied, 22.9% dissatisfied, for a total adverse rating of 70% on how the Commissioner of Police was handling corruption in the service. 36% was dissatisfied with police-based interactions, 17% dissatisfied, giving a total negative rating of 53.1. It involved more than 2,000. 85% were afraid that either a family member or friend would be a victim of crime. 77% were afraid of leaving their doors open. 61% were fearful of being in the yard at night. 50% were afraid of being in the streets. 74% were fearful of being in the streets at night. 63% people surveyed were fearful of driving at night. So basically, they don't have that much confidence in the police service to do their work.
Wow.
No surprises there. No surprises there. But the police have the wherewithal to turn it around. You might go on silent, Paul.
I silenced it. I was on a call. What is interesting about this? Right? Let me tell you what's interesting about this. This was done in 2023, right? The Police Service Commission would have had to do an assessment of the management of the police service because their remit is assessing the performance of the commissioner and deputies. This is a very damning report on public perception about the police service, right? From what you hear, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yet, according to the state, namely the government, they renewed the commissioners or extended the commissioners' tenure with this kind of report from the same commission that assessed the commissioner and the deputies. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
This damning report by the commission that in this, when the questions were asked about on what basis was the commissioner's tenure extended, I think the government said they were satisfied with the report from the Police Service Commission. Not so?
I don't remember them saying that.
I remember the question was asked, and I remember nebulous answer saying they were satisfied and they didn't go into any more details. But this is the report from the same commission on how the service is being managed and the results in public perception. Go figure.
Yeah, I think they just were kind of, they ran out of time. Remember, because
I agree with that. And I don't understand why you have to run out of time.
Yeah, when you know something coming.
When you have a whole year.
Yeah, exactly.
You run out of time when you have a whole year.
We had this discussion then.
I run out of time.
Yeah. We had this similar discussion then too. You know, how could you run out of time when you know the time is coming?
So this report is in stark contrast to anybody who would say somebody who's leading this service with these results is doing a good job. But we will see how it goes.
The other story that came out over the weekend that kind of corroborated what we were talking about, and certainly what you raised, Paul, was the issue of the Forex and where it's been going for the last few years. And it was on the front page of yesterday's Guardian that Trinidad and Tobago has been experiencing Forex challenges for the past 15 years, and the issue usually raises its head annually around Christmas time when importers, especially small businesses, reliant on commercial banks, struggle to get an adequate. This year, it says, the issue was further exacerbated by banks slashing the amount of Forex available for consumers for credit card purchases in the space of 1 month. However, one consistent Forex spend for the past 20 years has been on new and used vehicles. And they went on, they have a very comprehensive report on what exactly was spent on vehicles over the past 20 years.
I've been saying that for 2 years now. Since the Forex thing started to bubble, I've been saying this country needs to manage the number of cars it's importing because that car thing is sucking up the majority of the Forex.
It is.
The largest percentage of the Forex.
Yes.
And we don't need, how much? 25,000 new cars, is it? That's what they say?
Well, 10,000 per series.
Annually?
Yeah. We have been buying. The country now has more. They say the country now has more than 1.1 million registered cars on the road. While the present system registers new cars, it does not deregister old cars so that they are all registered in the system. So also that includes old vehicles, right? But Still, we have a problem. A problem. And only 15,000 out of those are for foreign use cars over that period.
Let me tell you something. We'll be on to anybody who touch them car companies in this country.
And there's another story that says, and I quote, car loans keep banks in business.
Yep. It's an ecosystem.
Yes.
I've said it for 2 years now. I'm not saying stop it. I'm saying manage it. Because a lot of those jobs depend on car companies, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm not saying stop it. I say reduce it by 1 quarter every year.
I remember
and there's managed the number of used cars coming into the country.
Yeah.
Or pre-owned cars. Why they can't manage new cars? Why?
I don't know.
Because new car dealerships have more power than Vishwan Babu and them. Good morning, Mr. Ragoobarsingh.
Good
morning, Richard.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Hi. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. A little tired.
Good. Tired? You had play this weekend?
No, I was just up late last night.
All right. Well, I dare to ask you why, but I won't ask you on public radio.
You can ask me. You can ask me. I say you can ask me.
You don't have to answer.
Yeah. I can
And you don't have to answer.
The rain kept you up?
What rain? No, I had no rain. Didn't really have much rain.
What part of Arima you live in, boy?
I
didn't really have much rain last night.
Last night didn't have any, but after lunch yesterday.
Well, no, not in Arima. Not in Arima. Didn't have much yesterday in Arima either.
Richard, you mad?
No, not by me.
Oh, well, I say not by you. I was telling them this morning I had water in places I never had water before.
Oh, that's suspicious. I met one of your neighbors too.
No, it's like somebody come and put a hose in my yard.
And you're not accustomed to hose in your yard.
I thought yesterday was so hot in Arima, and even though
something wrong with you, you know, the whole east-west corridor had rain.
I don't understand it.
And you talking about you had no rain?
No, it was so hot yesterday. When I remember talking some friends from Port Spain saying
it rained for about 2.5 hours heavily.
And I was saying, but had no thunder, nothing in Arima.
Richard, you were in your crypt holder yesterday?
Something must he was in the crypt or something.
You know,
I think you just
Arima in Central Arima. Was there rain yesterday in Arima? No, there wasn't.
What the hell I hear from this boy?
That's Barataria yesterday, Richard. By Toyota Day.
Okay. You had room stay crypt or something?
No, it did not have. I mean, no, it didn't really have that rain in Arima yesterday.
Yes.
You wasn't in Arima yesterday. You was in St. James.
I came up through the rain and came home. I came home to watch cricket, and the cricket and all in St. Lucia got washed out.
This is Fifth Street and one of these side streets.
And there remains in the comment section. They must be saying no, there wasn't any rain.
It had plenty rain, Richard.
Not in Arima. I'm not disputing that it had plenty rain.
It had plenty rain by me in Arima, Richard.
Because I knew there was a yellow alert warning yesterday.
Look, Beauty Culture, who's an Arimian. Look what she's saying there, or he or she. I don't even know if it's a he or she.
What is it?
He said heavy rain and wind in Arima. Yes, there was heavy rain and wind in Arima.
Not in Central Arima.
Well, he must put up the dome.
Not in Central
Arima. You know, it's advanced technology to save him, you don't know? You have alien technology. The dome must see when they're over his house.
Probably.
Somebody was Malabar or something. Beauty Culture, where you are in Malabar?
Vaughn is corroborating it too. Deborah, you know how long I've been promising to come by Sammy's place in Arima there? Another seafood place.
I haven't gone. Most people from the 8th staying a lot of rain in Arima. On Trayton, Dr. Caves.
Yeah, they're not in Central Arima, obviously.
Your dome went up.
Clearly.
Arima City Center did not have that much rain.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it missed you all. I don't know. but it was bad by me.
Is there nobody from Arima City Center in the group? But what the hell? Anyway, not in a group. What am I saying? Group listening. I was up late last night because I was trying to make a sponge cake, which I did, but
It's not sponge.
No, it came out pretty well. But you know, it's a work in progress. But it came out pretty good.
But what was the reason why you wanted to just suddenly make a sponge cake?
I always wanted to, and last night, I just decided, you know, let me try, because I always say, you know, I have to try to make a sponge cake, because people are always talking about, oh, they have this, you know, sponge cake is one of the things that people talk about, like roti. Oh, this person have the best sponge cake, that person have the best sponge cake. And I'm like, okay, let me try a sponge cake.
All right.
But it wasn't, so it kept me up, because I decided late, and I see things through. And, but it wasn't bad.
You have no work to get up to go to Monday morning. You're retired.
No,
so
it was not bad first attempt. It was not bad first attempt, I must say.
Good for you.
And you know, Mr. Critical Hayden was very said no, it wasn't tasting bad. He just found it should be a little bit more yellow than it was.
Yeah, but Hayden has ever said, yeah, that good boy. Everything cool with that.
Yeah, sometimes.
He does?
Sometimes.
Or what, a Heineken, a cold Heineken?
No, sometimes he'll say, no, that person could real cook. That food tastes real good.
Dog, he said that about dog.
Don't try to get me in trouble. Leave that right there.
Oh gosh.
So the big topic this weekend.
As they say, come down from there.
Raise or no raise for Prime Minister, President, opposition leader, parliamentarians, etc., etc.
They say government and opposition MPs refuse to comment when they ask them. Yeah. Nobody don't want to say, no, it's okay, I don't want to raise.
I know, I think members of parliament and senators and the prime minister and in that sense, I do think they need a raise. I think their salaries were a little on the low side.
Yeah, especially an MP who is not a government minister or such.
Yeah, that's kind of low. It's kind of
17,000 or 20
yeah,
somewhere there.
I mean, to be fair, in the scheme of things, I thought a lot of the salary, because they showed you some of them, and I thought they were on the low side.
Comparatively in the region and the hemisphere, our high-ranking public official salaries are low. But I think the issue is in the context of where the country is now and what the Prime Minister said a couple of weeks ago about whole strain and difficult times. I think that is the context in which people are having a difficulty with it. I think if you look at the comparative salaries of our Prime Minister, leader of the opposition president, they're lower comparatively. If you look at the Jamaican Prime Minister, for instance, it's much higher than ours.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. I think it's on the low side. But is there really ever a good time?
And that's exactly the point. Is there ever going to be a good time given where we are for the last couple of years?
Well, again, as I said, I'm making the case out for local government people. They are on the lowest end.
Yes, local. Did they improve it, Wendell?
No, it was never improved.
Not in this new iteration?
No.
What new iteration?
Well, they adjusted some.
What new iteration?
They adjusted nothing.
No, they adjusted some.
When?
It has not been proclaimed.
No, I'm not talking about local government, I'm saying they adjusted some in the new SRC report.
Oh, you mean adjusted the payments?
Yes, they adjusted the proposals. Yes.
Yeah, they did. But very minimally to it.
Did they adjust for local government?
Yes, they did, but very minimally. But at least give them that. The adjustment from local government was very minimal. But at least give them that. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
But because remember, it's supposed to be that's their job, not so?
Yeah. Well, clearly what they're recommending is still not meant to be their job. Because you're gone from 4,002 to 5,005 or something.
Okay.
So you're really not you're really not giving them a permanent nothing. But at least there's a little something, give it to them.
Also, they're not changing it. Well, then obviously they're not changing. They're not, well, I shouldn't say they're not changing. They're not enacting that provision.
No, and
they're not proclaiming that provision where that's their only job.
Well, they don't be listening to me. Local government reform, and I feel that's why the Prime Minister must be upset with me, is a hoax. Okay? I said it before and I'll say it again. Right? Good.
When we interviewed the Prime Minister in just before the local government election, we asked him when the Reform Act is going to be fully proclaimed. He told us around January or first quarter 24, you know.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Because all these new provisions for full-time and accountability was supposed to come in.
Remember, that was also in the middle of the local government elections. That was the middle of the campaign, eh?
Property taxes being collected, and the same corporations that's supposed to be reformed to apply the monies collected from the residential property tax are not in place. So,
all right. You know, for the thing about it is for the last 20 years, I've been saying the same thing. I have a whole set of councillors came into Port of Spain and left. And they all of them thought that I was talking nonsense. And I told them, I said, listen, I've been in local government since 1999. Am I being heard? Everybody else disappeared. Steve?
I'm hearing you.
All right. Paul, I think you're having internet issues.
I had to get up.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I've been there since 1999. I went in there with local government reform on the table. I left there 2023, 25 years later, and it's still on the table. I've been telling people over the years that I'm fed up with the mama guy. I got it through Patrick Manning. First Basdio Pandey, because when I went in, Basdio Pandey was Prime Minister. Pandey, Manning, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and now Dr. Rowley.
And therein, Wendell, lies the fundamental problem that is wrong with Trinidad and Tobago. And that is the problem of implementation, and implementation in a timely and speedy manner. That's the fundamental problem at the core of why this country is the way it is, you know. Our ability to adapt and change and do it quickly is low on the scale from 1 to 10. We're probably about a 1 or 2 out of 10. And in this changing world environment, you need to be hitting at least a 7.
Yeah. The only significant thing that changed in local government in the last 25 years is that local government practitioners now get an office assistant that is paid $3,000 a month, and an office that they could get if they get it rented for $2,500 a month, and $1,000 extra for stationery. That has been the only significant change in local government that happened in the People's Partnership term. That is the only thing that happened. Right? Now, local government practitioners, the other change that happened last year is that the term is now extended from 3 years to 4 years. But guess what? Any cabinet, because local government is not part of the Constitution, any cabinet that goes and sit and say they call in an election in the morning, they could do. You understand? So I am not fooled and I'm not disturbed by people who have a problem with what I'm saying. I speak the truth because I've experienced it. Okay? They do not care about local government. They do not care. None of the last 4 governments have.
Clearly, the implementation of the changes in a law that was passed to make sure that it was revolutionized or evolved is not a priority. It could not be a priority given what we're seeing now. But again, as I say, people paying property tax have expectations, you know.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, I don't find anybody should be earning a salary of less than $6,000 a month in this country.
Well, I'm telling you, all them people,
local government officials would be in that.
exactly. All them people who always vote into office and cussing because they ain't do this, they ain't do that, they garbage it. All of them getting less than that.
And I mean, because I know the tax benchmark is 7,000. So, but really, nobody should be getting less than 6,000, quite frankly.
Ah, Lord.
Never a dull moment.
Huh?
Did you all see the story about the LGBTQI activist that was called out of his house and murdered?
Yes,
that's a weird
In
story.
Marabella or something?
Very, very disturbing.
He's a taxi driver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he drives a Maxine also.
Yes.
Kempty, I can't remember what his surname
Is it Mitchell?
Could be that.
Yeah, I saw that story trending over the weekend.
Yeah, Jason Jones had sent it to me, actually. That's how I got it first. Yeah. It sent it. I got that WhatsApp from him, and I'm like, what?
But it's the way apparently from the news reports I saw, there was some gathering at his home, and somebody called his phone and said, come outside for something, and he went outside, and they just pulled up and shot him.
That's crazy.
It's madness.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I was trying to get from this story, what is the link they were making to the community? You understand? That is what I didn't follow.
Were they making a link to the LGBT?
Yeah. Well, the fact that they said that, I thought that that's what the inference, you know?
Oh.
Maybe I read it wrong. But Wendell Fields is being accused of bullying Minister Ayanna Webster Roy. At least let me read the story so you can get a sense. So a government minister has accused the president of the Fathers Association of making her feel bullied and harassed over an invitation to attend this year's International Men's Day March. Minister in the office, Ayanna Webster Roy, defended herself and the government yesterday over claims that they failed to show up to the event and support men. A response came after Association President Wendell Fields said he was disheartened that no government official attended the annual march in Port of Spain. So he said the absence of both government and opposition members sent the wrong message. You either put your money where your mouth is or your presence where they are, and the fact that we have ministers from the region and none from Trinidad says something. So how did she feel bullied and harassed? He said, the minister, all right, let me see what Minister Ayanna Webster Roy said. He said, when he came to me and bombarded me about this men's conference, I said we will look into it. The initial commitment was to provide sponsorship. I took the proposal to Cabinet, and Cabinet fully endorsed it, funding all activities. We planned the activities with technical support from Mr. Fields. From day one, Mr. Fields knew about my prior commitment to the Roxborough Seventh-day Adventist Church in Tobago. The minister added that she felt bullied by Fields and labeled his comments as unfair. If Mr. Fields doesn't get his way, he threatens everyone to go to the media. I told my PS, as a female minister, I felt bullied and harassed by Mr. Fields. Mr. Fields is playing victim. Wow, okay. All right. Wendell would probably need to respond to that because the minister.
Oh, that's what we're good at in Trinidad. We're good at responding quick.
Yeah, the minister said
that making sure we respond and making sure that our opinions are heard. That is one thing we're good at. But the thing about implementation and change, out the window.
Yeah, but if Wendell Fields knows, well, I mean, the minister is a devout Seventh-day Adventist. If she felt compelled to attend that instead of thing, I don't see the problem there. I don't see the problem. But then he entitled to his opinion still. So
I didn't know Seventh-day Adventist people could get involved in politics.
Huh?
I didn't know that.
No, you're talking Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, it's Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
I know there was one that doesn't partake in politics. Jehovah's
Witnesses don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so, Paul. I thought you'd be on top of that, of which one it was. Since, you're the, I shouldn't say you are the religious person here, but you're certainly one of them. Take that how you want it.
I'm not even helping you with this.
Do you
Respond to it.
do you have newspapers?
I actually do.
Since you're baking cake and you're throwing words.
I actually do.
Read the papers.
Put on my glasses this morning, yeah. So the Daily Express, let me start with that. Monday, November. It's November 18th already. Okay. Monday, November 18th. WASA bosses in muddy waters. Judge finds credible evidence of misconduct. Apparent attempt to pervert course of justice in investigation against employee. So WASA bosses in muddy waters. That's the headline that the Daily Express went with. Analysts critical of more pay for politicians. Risky business in election year. And the main picture is that of the chairman of the Trinidad Regional Corporation, Josiah Austin, inspects, well, it's looking like cadets at the Trinidad Regional Corporation Interfaith Service and Military Parade yesterday at Constantine Park, McCoy. Trinidad had something yesterday?
Apparently, because I saw a post on Facebook, they had their church service and march and parade.
They usually have that?
Yeah, they usually have it. And I think San Fernando also celebrating their week too at the same time as Tunapuna, if I'm not mistaken.
And bloody war on Gaza is on the back page. Ambassador of the State of Palestine to the Caribbean. End bloody war on Gaza. And Senior Superintendent on recent killings, gang war in Belmont. Dennis calls out THA on autonomy and ministry tackling sewer problem at St. George's, and gunmen kill sleeping fishermen. All of that is on the back page. Well, back pages. You have to go inside a little bit. And the main sports story is hurricanes blow away Mariners. Cornwall Stars with bat and ball help secure Super 50 Cup semis berth. Rain reigns in final T20I, and Ash sets new standard in age group 100 meters, and Sarat wins in SSTF League. Moving on to the Newsday for today. Front page of the Newsday this morning. Reasonable evidence of misconduct. Court backs transparency in WASA case. Reasonable evidence of misconduct. St. Gabriel's Girls RC are junior parang winners. An ex-PSC member calls for review of legislation. And the main picture is of Parang and the joy of Christmas season, which of course is going to get into even fuller swing shortly. Guardian, Trinidad and Tobago Guardian today. Oh no, wait, I didn't do the back page of the Newsday. The back page of the Newsday. Host Captain Cornwall to the rescue. Leeward's all-rounder Stars in Super 50 win versus CCC, and hosts Carib beat Royalians in the rugby final. Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. Front page. Give them pay hike. Former Deputy Central Bank Governor says current salaries to PM and top officials ridiculous. And that's Dr. Terence Farrell, economist. Give them pay hike. He's saying the current salaries are ridiculous. Forward march. Well, this is from Tunapuna Week, apparently. You know, we have Point Fortin Borough, Arima Borough, Digger Martin Borough just now, and Port of Spain City and San Fernando City celebration. So Tunapuna feel they need to have something. Shock over.
They normally do.
Let me be derisive. Shock over activists' murder. So that's with Kempty. That's a big shock. And Works Minister says port operations back to normal. And on the back page, York on one mission. I suppose, well, I don't know what his one mission is. That's Dwight York, of course. But I assume it's focused on World Cup mission as TNT coach. So that's the three daily newspapers in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago on this Monday morning.
Richard, a regular listener messaged me to say that they dreamt you last night. That's all they said.
I don't know. Was that very prosperous?
I don't know. But they've never dreamt you before.
Okay. Well, I hope
Really?
that's a positive thing. Yeah.
All right. Our results of our morning poll, where we asked you on Friday, do you think a vetted unit will make a difference in the effectiveness of the Trinidad and Tobago police service? The results are in. 70%, 70 says no.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
So our poll question this morning: Should cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader? That's our poll this morning. The adjusted SRC report is out. Should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader? So that's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's absolutely toll-free. Of course, people on the web and the app and streaming devices, you can send your votes via the messaging portal there. And if you're watching us at M&E TV and listening to us on smart devices, you can WhatsApp us at 318-1021. And in about 5 seconds flat, you're going to see the numbers, also part of the ticker tape. There it is. Mm-hmm. So you can see the ticker tape if you're actually watching us with the numbers. But for those of you who are listening, I'll keep repeating them from time to time. So our poll: should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader? Let the voting begin.
All right. Let us start. Or of course, you can call us at 222-8255. Got some calls already. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Prepare for my downward trek, guys.
Morning.
I would say yes to the approval of the salary review commission report.
All right.
Simply because if you complain about the one the best, you have to pay the best salary. And it's not only the 21 parliamentarians who will benefit, councillors, also senior public servants as well.
All right.
Who have not had an increase in salary for over 10 years.
Thank you, caller. We just want yes or no, by the way. Huh? Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Sandy Grandy, no.
All right, Grandy. Thank you so much. We have Jean Clark saying no. Donna Clark saying no way. Slick Money Grip says yes. Lester Crigwell says no. Beauty Culture doing a double show in no. Randy the Gans doing a show in no. Cheryl Henry showing again no. Gregory Bauer, yes to the poll. David Wares, yes from me, and no from Cheryl. All right. Morning, Cheryl. John Cato says no. Cheryl Charles says no. Michael Gradison says no. Julia S. Batiste says no. Calvert Gabriel, no. Mrs. R, yes. Benjamin, no to the increase. Marcia Rock says no. Chris J says yes. Cascade St. Anne says no. Jaron Joseph says no. Good morning, Trevor and Arima and GNC Auto Security. Dan Raj, good morning to you. Let's see. Richard Knight says no. Wayne Bennett says yes. Should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including president, prime minister, opposition leader? Yes or no? 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Rennie Devine says no. Trini Get Fit says no. Trevor Panton says no. Kurt Hope in Nashville says no. New Hampshire says no. All right, messages on. Are we on Facebook? I'm getting messages. We are not on Facebook.
I think Paul is addressing it.
Okay. All right. All right. Should cabinet approve the salary increases for public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader? Yes or no? Up north says no. Michael, Vincent in the UK says yes. All right. Let's get some calls going. 222-8255. Toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. All right, that's our numbers directly into our studio. And you can vote on our poll. Should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader?
To talk to the 28255 North Americans 866-525-1099.
Yep. Of course, if you're coming into the capital city, right at the exit of the priority bus route by the Mosquito Spa, by South Key, a lot of water is on the westbound lanes, okay, of the Eastern Main Road. Lenny McKnight says, no way. Let's see. Alistair Hart says no. Junior says no. Lorna. Morning, Lorna. Indy and Carly. No. Let's see. Andre. I vote no. Thank you, Andre. All right. Let's see. Should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, opposition leader? What says you? Yes or no? All right. We have 3 minutes again to vote on our poll. All right. So far, I see no issues on the highways and on the byways. San Fernando, you're lighter than usual. East-west corridor. Heavy on the highway. Heavy. Let's see. We did Andre. I vote no. Good to open Nashville. We did that. Oh, who is this? Right. Okay. Yep. All right. I think the prime minister is supposed to be like 87 something. Wow. All right. Andre says no. Should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including president, prime minister, and the opposition leader? Yes or no is what we want from you. Okay, that question there from Andre is for Richard. Let's see. Do you have any more votes coming through on WhatsApp? Yep, we have David Nelson saying yes. We've got Captain Ron. Oh, he's at home in Orlando. Says no. All right. I see Captain Ron, Southwest Airline out of Dallas, was shot at under the cockpit. Wow. That's scary. That's scary. Vaughn Drayton says, hell no. Ooh, Pablo is reading this morning.
Ruben, sort out the Facebook connection.
All right, so Vaughn Drayton says, hell no. On WhatsApp, nothing else. Should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader? You have about 30 seconds again to vote. No, you don't. No, you don't. Carol Guevara says no. All right, Kurt, we just want yes or no, okay? And let's see if we have any on WhatsApp. Morning, guys. Oliver here. Hey, Ollie, morning. I vote no. All right, thank you so much. All right, let's get into our major newscast. Yep. Paul is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Good morning. This is news to 7 a.m. First, the headlines. Parliament to debate new proposed PSC members today. DeSalle planned back in service after shutdown for maintenance. And President Xi says he will work with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump in the last meeting with President Joe Biden. We have details coming up next. This is news to 7 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. It is Monday, 18th November. Good morning. At 1:30 this afternoon, the House of Representatives will meet to debate on 5 nominees proposed as potential new members of the Police Service Commission, PSC. The order paper lists the nominees as Dr. Wendell Wallace, Anika Fritz Brown, Ethel Hector Barkley, Roger Baburam, and Ian Kevin Ramdani, the latter being a member of the former commission. Reports indicate the terms of the former commission members, including retired Judge Judith Jones, Maxine Atong, Maxine King, and Rajiv Prasad, and Ramdani, expired on November 15th. The names will come to the House as notifications from the President after consultations with the Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition, in line with Section 122 of the Constitution. The Police Service Commission is responsible for the appointment and oversight of the Commissioner of Police and 3 deputy commissioners. The House will also debate the finance bill to provide up to the year-end waiver on any penalties and interest on sums owed under the Registration of Clubs Act, the National Insurance Act, the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, the Stamp Duty Act, and the Property Tax Act. Former Deputy Central Bank Governor, economist Dr. Terence Farrell, is voicing the unpopular opinion that the salaries of the President, Prime Minister, and Leader of the Opposition and others should be increased in line with recommendations of the Salary Review Commission. Dr. Farrell said while there is much criticism on the proposed figures in the SRC's report laid in Parliament on Friday, these wage hikes are long overdue. He said, quote, "Your top echelon of people who are the best qualified, most competent people, your permanent secretaries are running a ministry with thousands of people inside of it, responsible for budgets of millions of dollars, and you want to pay them $35,000 a month. That's ridiculous, quite frankly. It's very ridiculous." End quote. Despite Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley in September telling the nation to hold the fort, as this year until the end of second quarter 2027 will be a period of difficulty, Farrell does not think the country is unable to pay its high-ranking public officials more money. Acknowledging that his comments may earn him the population's ire, Farrell clarified he does not disagree with people's objections to the increase in principle, as he understands the optics don't seem fair. He added, it can be very vexing to be offered 4%, while the opposition leader's salary can go up by 76%. He, however, maintained the hike is necessary and suggested a performance management scheme to be created to ensure value for money. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service continues to face significant distrust and lack of public confidence from the general population. A recent survey showed that 47% were very dissatisfied and 22.9% dissatisfied, for a total adverse rating of 70% on how the Commissioner of Police is dealing with corruption in the TTPS. The survey found 36% of respondents were very dissatisfied with the police based on interactions with officers of the TTPS. The survey also showed 17.1% were dissatisfied, giving a total negative rating of 53.1%. Conversely, 8.3% were very satisfied, and 20.8% of people were satisfied, with a total positive rating of 29.1%. The Public Trust, Confidence and Satisfaction Survey was done in 2023 with 2,051 people and organizations by the Police Service Commission to determine the extent to which policing services in TNT had an impact on the citizenry, and were recorded in the Police Service Commission's 2023 annual report, which was tabled in the House of Representatives this past Friday. The survey found 50% were afraid to be on the streets in their neighborhood during the day, and 74% were fearful to be on the streets in their neighborhoods at night. 63% of people surveyed were fearful of driving at night in their community. The survey showed that when compared to the figures of the same survey in 2020 and 2022, the fear of crime had increased in the country steadily. The Water and Sewage Authority reveals the resumption of operations at the Point Lisa's desalination plant followed a planned shutdown for critical maintenance. The plant was restarted November 16th, one day ahead of schedule. WASA says customers in Central and South Trinidad who had been affected by the planned maintenance shutdown of the facility restarted on 5 p.m. on Saturday. At a media conference at the Point Leases plant on November 7th, the Salcot's acting general manager, Ragoobarsingh, said work during the shutdown included cleaning tanks and wells, repairing cracked concrete infrastructure, repairing sludge cleaning mechanisms, and upgrading the communications network and replacing meters and doing annual electrical transformer maintenance. Moving now to sporting news, Cricket West Indies unveils the West Indies Test squad for the two-match series against Bangladesh. The home series is scheduled for November 22nd to December 4th in Antigua and Jamaica. Led by Craig Brathwaite, the squad features a mix of seasoned and informed players and also fresh talent. The informed Justin Graves is in the squad following a sensational run in CG United Super 50 Cup where he smashed 3 centuries. His recent performances have been a highlight of the domestic season. Kevin Sinclair also returns to the squad as a valuable spin bowling asset, while Jason Holder will miss the series as he continues rehabilitation for a shoulder injury. Finally, the BBC is reporting Chinese leader Xi Jinping is willing to work with incoming President-elect Donald Trump for his final meeting with the current U.S. President Joe Biden. President Xi said a stable relationship between China and the U.S. was critical for both parties and the rest of the world. The two met recently on the sidelines of the annual Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit held in Peru, where they acknowledged ups and downs in the relationship with Biden over the 4 years in office. Speaking at Saturday's meeting, which was held at the President's Xi Hotel in Lima, the leader of the U.S. and China treat each other as opponents or enemies, engaged in vicious competitions and mutual harm. U.S.-China relations will suffer setbacks or even regressions if these dynamics do not change. And that is news to 7 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming our way again at 12 noon with headlines coming up at 8 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you so much, Paul, for our major news. You can join him again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. And of course, let's see. Let me just give you what the weather forecast is for today. Let's pull it up here. Partly cloudy and cloudy periods with light to moderate showers will likely interrupt fair conditions. There's a 40 to 60% medium chance of these showers becoming heavy and or thundery at times from late morning. Generally settled evening despite lingering showers over a few areas. Gusty winds, street flash flooding can occur in the event of heavy showers or thunderstorms. Maximum forecast temperature for the day, 33 degrees at Piarco and 32 at Crown Point in our beautiful sister Isle of Tobago. Currently, it is 26 degrees with some rain out at Crown Point in Tobago, and it is, let's see, I'm just waiting for it here. Yeah, same at Piarco International Airport, all right, which is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, traffic-wise, let's see. Nothing to tell you about. Where you think you're going to get it, you will get it. All right. Now, let's check to see if we have any more votes. Esther Adams says no. Wayne Lala says no. DL says yes. Let's see. Michael Oliver says hell no. And that is all I have for you right now. Okay, that's it.
All right, so our poll this morning, should the cabinet approve the salary increases to public officials, including the president, prime minister, and opposition leader? We had 47 people voting on the poll this morning. Of the 47 people, 37 of you said no, you do not think that cabinet should approve the salary increases. And 10 of you said yes, you do agree that it should be increased. So those are our results. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day through our programming, and we'll give you the final results on tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning.
What do you think today is?
So,
Are you ready to retire? Do you think today is Friday?
so we'll give you the results on Tuesday morning, which will be tomorrow, considering the final results. And that's it.
Hmm.
Should we open the lines and take some calls since we didn't do that in the first hour?
Yeah, let's do that. All right. So 222-8255. North Americans, toll free 866-525-1099. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve, Richard, Wendell, mi amor.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás?
I want to
Muy
vote
bien.
on that poll. Sorry, I get up late. Yes. What a yes, the affirmators.
I'm sorry, that'll have to go for tomorrow. But duly noted.
Well, do what you want.
Of course, I always do.
Say yes.
What were the poll results, Richard?
37 said no, 10 people said yes.
Oh, good. Haters, boy. We need to separate local government people. Get local government people to think now, God. You go wicked, boy.
So the vast majority said no.
You know they're listening to the show, right? Right now they're listening to the show. You know?
Yeah, but senators getting it to independent senators. Paul, you getting a raise to it?
This show is the pre-cabinet meeting, you know.
I think independent senators going up to like 40,000 or so.
Oh, good.
What?
You can't come in, please.
Money.
No, hey, wait. That is a joke, eh? I don't know what
you can't come in, please. You can't come in, please, partner.
that is a joke.
I don't gonna say, I going to Richard, we going to make a little play for that.
Hey, you know, we had to start messaging President Kangaroo saying, how you going, girl?
Yeah, what's going on?
That's how it works. That's how it works.
How the children, how the grandchildren?
How cool it going?
How come it going, yeah.
That's how it works. I didn't know that. I will take note.
Yeah, but you went in there long before Miss.
Yes,
You went in there long before.
Yes,
I have had the honor of being appointed by 3 presidents, okay?
Yeah, he's transitioned.
You first went in who wonder who? Mr. Kamuna?
That's right.
You there real long, boy.
So you
If
he did long again?
He will just know he'd be like, who was the long-standing one for a while?
Red Mark.
No independent senator, Wendell.
Oh.
An independent senator who used to call them to what they call it, which they should not do.
Caucus. Oh, Dennise Demming.
Yeah, just now he'll be.
Wasn't it him?
Oh yeah, caucus.
What? No, I think he was the one I was against it actually.
Yeah, but
I don't
he
know
was there for a while, wasn't he? And I said just now Paul will overtake that record if he hasn't already. I don't think he has yet.
Really, it's a serious food eating there, you know, remember? The opposition leader described him as an eater food.
Oh boy.
We have
some calls. Yes, we have some calls coming through. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I think the police need to solve that murder of Mr. Mitchell, Kenty Mitchell. Because he was a popular guy in San Fernando, and regardless of his sexual orientation, that doesn't give anybody right to kill somebody. I believe from what I got from the story is that he was killed because he was a gay actor. But I don't know if that was right or wrong. But so what made it worse was the comments Did you all go into the comment section?
Nah, I don't ever do that. I don't ever do that. Trust me. You don't want to do that with these hate crimes.
It's ridiculous. Like, people are actually saying, well, he deserves to die.
Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. But the hate crimes will generate comments like that. Trust me.
But I hope the people who were saying that caller were in the minority.
No, basically, I would say 70% of the comments was that.
Wow, that's very disturbing.
Yeah, and I well, you
There
all
have a
know
lot of hateful people online, you know. They have a lot of hateful people online.
very hateful.
And the people who are not hateful don't really necessarily comment. Even though I think the not hateful people are in the vast majority, they don't really engage in things like that.
Yeah.
He was popular person in San Fernando. I'm from South. He was living in St. Martin. He's a popular person. He's a maxi and a private car for hire and thing, and people would hire him. That's how he made his money.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well, if somebody calls me on my phone and tell me come out by the gate for something, it have to be somebody I know. So this should be very easy for the police to find the shooter. I think this one very easy for them. Anyway, Wendell is there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm driving, but I'm listening. Yeah.
All right. As a former council, I want to ask you if you get reports that a drain in Belmont needs trees growing in it, and a request is made by residents to cut those trees in the drain, do you have to go and do a site visit before you go and cut those trees? I'm trying to understand that, because it's something that was done already. Last week I spoke about the trees growing in the Diego Martin River. And there it is.
But yeah, you know, you asked one question, but you're answering it too.
No. All right, sorry. Right? I'm just saying what was said to me. What is the procedure when you get a call like that, Wendell?
Well, I would report it to the administrative staff at the corporation, the engineers and so on, the people who are responsible at the end of the day for going out there. But as a councillor, I also too would pay a visit and familiarize myself with it. You understand? Which is what most councillors, I would imagine, would do. Go and check for themselves and make sure that when they go the next time, they go with the engineers or whoever responsible for getting the work done. And you follow through, because you have to follow through. Remember, these things take some time. You have to follow through as a good representative. You have to follow through and make sure it's done.
It's done, yes, but Wendell, what I'm saying is something that was done already. So I'm trying to understand the site visit to come and cut trees in a river. Anyway, she said that they did a site visit, so I don't want to hold my breath to wait for the trees to come and get cut, because as I said, we were lucky we didn't end up like the people in the bay with that river overflowing. And another thing, I was listening to a program yesterday morning, Independency. Now, the talk last week was if police should carry guns in court, and it has scanner, and nobody can go in with nothing to... Yesterday, there were 3 prisoners on that program, and you know what one of them said? He served 15 years, and he said he went into court. He didn't say where he had the knife, and in the court, the young fella said he stabbed a guy. Well, it was an inmate who was giving him problems in the court. In the court, he stabbed this guy. So I say, wait, that scanner wasn't working when they brought him in. It was like the scanners down on the port that they see things when it want to. Look, so all you let the police go in court without gun you're here, because it's clear and present danger, even in a courthouse. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right, thank you.
Are you aware that a prisoner disarmed the police recently from in another jurisdiction, took his gun away from him, and ran out the court?
I saw that.
Yes.
But didn't they catch up with him soon outside the court?
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, the fact that he could have disarmed a policeman in a court and run out the court, you know what I mean?
But it was was it a policeman
Why?
or was it one of the court bailiffs?
Whoever was armed was somebody who was armed in the court.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that you can't go in police stations with some items. You dare not go. And who make a rule? Not the police. If the judiciary make a rule, the Chief Justice make a rule, you can't come in my courts with gun. Then so be it. Hey.
All right. Good morning, caller.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Morning.
gentlemen. Local government is a hoax.
Lincoln, you come and lie with me. You come and lie with me Friday, you know. Don't provoke me, you
know. They boast that they received how much $1 million in the when they did a drive the other day. I'm sure they got more by now. But the 15 manholes as I walk out my street on the main road, the 15 manholes still there. And I would call all you next year around this time and let all you know the 15 manholes still there. All right? So the same reason I said I would not be paying property tax seem to be manifesting, which is nothing is changing in my community. I'm not seeing the tax-paying dollars that people paying, property tax-paying dollars. I'm not seeing being manifested in my community by road patching. I ain't saying road paving.
Lincoln, come now, man. You can't link your manhole cover now to this property tax. Come on now, man. That is a little unreasonable.
Okay. That's why I said I will come back in a year and give a report as to if they fix. Because I know these sycophants are going to say, well, it's too early for that. I mean,
but Wendell, a large part of how the government sold residential property tax coming back was so that local government bodies could be funded to more effectively carry out works in the areas in the regional corporations, right? Am I wrong with that?
No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not.
There has been little or no changes, as far as I know, in terms of proclamation of the new clauses in the law to operationalize the changes that are expected under local government reform. Am I wrong or am I right?
But all you're doing is corroborating.
Can I finish?
But you're asking questions, you know.
So now that property tax is being collected to the tune of $91 million, probably reach $100 million by now. What mechanism is going to be used in these regional corporations to use that money effectively and in an accountable manner to do these jobs? Tell me.
That's a parliamentary question you're asking.
Okay. It's a parliamentary question now.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks,
It's a parliamentary question now. Okay.
Yes. Because you know how I feel about it, Paul. Lincoln know how I feel about it. Everybody who listens to the show know how I feel about it.
They are being compliant with the law and paying their property tax with expectations that the services that have been promised that are to be improved are going to start to happen. And the fundamental machinery and mechanisms that are supposed to be evolved by the Local Government Reform Act are not in place yet.
Steve.
Good morning again.
Could you get Minister Faris Alwari, the local government minister, on the show? He could answer all them questions.
Actually, I tried for him yesterday, but it rang out.
I might be able to tell him live on radio that he perpetrated a hoax on people. But you could call him.
I'll try again today.
Gentlemen, good morning again.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
I hope that, so Paul, will you think that is magic? As the money and rest yet good in the treasury, only it should start to spend?
I'm asking Zena, when are the mechanisms going to be enacted to operationalize the changes expected?
Take your time. You're jumping the gun. Take your time. You're going to get shot.
When you jump in the gun, it's all right, but I can't jump the gun. Okay.
You're going
That's the problem with the country. Everything is take your time. Everything in this country is take your time.
Yeah.
You couldn't even do Vision 2020. We have to give our next decade.
Like the population.
Take your time, right?
can I make my
Gun. All I hear is gun.
All you jumping on me. Only can I make my contribution?
Please do.
And what about those who like Lincoln who say you're paying tax? Sure, like they're ready to line up to get what the government have. They lose this, they lose that, they lose fridge, they lose stove, and there's some of them must be the same ones who say they're paying nothing. You understand? Anyhow, I call to really say I really call to say that the suggestion that Richard made earlier about senators going to 40,000, and I know it's a joke he made, but I would like it too because I know that I will benefit. Me and
How?
is no for holding on, no self for holding on.
Oh. You buy 2 ceramic pig for you? That is it? That is how you benefit then?
Not at all. That is sufficient for a woman like me. I could buy me pig for myself.
She don't need ceramic pig. She has much more profound. I can't say piglets. I can't say piggy. I can't say bigger pigs.
Piggy will work. Piggies will work.
I can't say that.
Oh God, listen, Wendell, you are easy. You have to answer me, make my contribution. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead quickly, Zina. Lots of calls.
She still have more contribution to make.
So this is what I'm saying, that I will benefit. I don't care.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
I wanted to the side door is still open. I'm going.
All right, bye-bye.
Good morning.
You know,
good morning.
Morning again. Wendell, I want you to answer me this question. I like it. Well, I will be preaching in the choir by asking you this question. But in what world you get a corporate councilor's offices has to be on a main road? In which world?
No, they don't have to be. Where you get that from?
To be accessible, to be thing.
No, a councilor can operate from anywhere.
Wendell, I have a question. In which world you getting a business location or a place to rent, so primarily to be a business location for $2,500?
Which is why councillors are. Hold on, let me finish now. I understand where you're coming from. Which is why councillors are allowed also to amalgamate and share an office. So, in other words, 3 councillors can put up and get a total of $7,500 and share an office space. That is allowed also.
Right, and you're paying the staff now $3,000 a month. I don't know how
not the staff is not Lincoln. You see, listen to me now. It's not the staff. You are allowed 1 assistant, giving them a stipend of $3,000 a month. Each councillor. So if there are 3 people in there, it'll be $9,000 going towards those 3 people.
Okay, so all right then. I find that review commission, they need to hire the salary review commission to negotiate wages for the public sector in Trinidad and Tobago, because like they are the only people that feel that Trinidad have money that they could pay people a decent salary. Whoever does the negotiation for local government and all these people, let the salary review commission do them salary negotiations, because I like how they doesn't know that we are the tightly belt when it comes to politicians and people of affluence, right? But
that's not a fair statement, Lincoln. So politicians have not been given an increase for a long time, simply because the public generally, the sentiment is that they objected and the politicians back off. Because at the end of the day, a politician in office is more important, I guess, than him getting some pension down the road. He rather stay on the side of caution to make sure public sentiment doesn't kick him out of office. You understand? Which is why politicians have not been implementing that increase.
I understand what you're saying, Wendell, and I agree with you. I support that. However, a more than 30% increase when they're giving everybody else in the country 4% is very generous. I am not.
Yeah, again. You're looking at it in the context of this time. Is whatever increase it is because for years they haven't done it.
But when they get people 1% for years, so we want 1%, 1% and 2% for years in the same 2013, in the same period that public servants and get the increase for.
You know something, me go. You know something, me go. I'm not going to argue on behalf of politicians. I argue on behalf of councillors, local government people.
All I'm saying is the same in periods of 2013. Police and soldiers and all government workers get 1% for 3 years, 1% for the next 3 years. So all I'm saying, give politicians 3%, give them 5%, give them whatever. But 30%, we are getting a back of $750,000. Come on, man. Have a good morning,
Lincoln.
Gentlemen.
All right, take care. I ain't arguing, but because I find it just disingenuous to argue. Politicians' jobs, as you all know, are not guaranteed. There is no guarantee in that job. None.
That's why there's asking.
But I also agree, Wendell and everyone, with Dr. Farrell's suggestion, because he's an advocate for the increases. He says these are the leaders in the country, but he says along with the increases, there should be performance management mechanisms. So you don't sit on there because you have a 5-year term in your man and you're not performing.
But how will that work, Paul?
I have no idea.
Because that's a constitutional change that he's talking about very casually there. Because the only way you're removed if you are a basic member of parliament and if you are the member of parliament for an area is via the elections when people vote.
Exactly. If you're a cabinet minister, you are the women fancy of whoever the prime minister is.
Yep.
If you are an independent senator, you are the women fancy of whoever the president is. So there is no guarantee nowhere in there.
But you know, there's something to be said, although they can't be removed that easily, for a performance management mechanism put and it be published. So you either assess as performing adequately or not and make it public. That might be enough.
And who assessing you?
Well, put a mechanism based to assess. How much promises you make every budget? What your ministry for the fiscal?
There's going to be a commission
for the fiscal.
But I'm saying, who is asking you those questions? Who's assessing you?
It must be the same salary review commission.
Who's doing that performance appraisal?
Must be the same salary review commission.
Who? The CPO's office?
Must be the same salary review commission.
Well, they come in under the CPO's office and base. Well, the CPO office is a big part of it. But the head of it is really, I think, the president of the country. But really, who's doing that performance appraisal? To be posted.
So what are you saying is that the people who we are saying are the echelons of society, in the words of Dr. Farrell, the people who run in the country, nobody does assess their performance. We have no mechanism for it, and we should be happy with that.
Electorate.
It's called electorate. And
electorate.
What maybe I will say is take it down from 5 to 4 because I find 5 years is a little long.
So let me ask you something.
So I take it to 4 so that the electorate has a quicker voice, and you can include things like if it is that you get 100,000 people, whatever, who are things in an area, it could force a poll to go back if somebody's not performing. Things like that.
I recall.
Yeah, you could have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But who will do a performance appraisal of a cabinet minister? What, the prime minister? That's what the prime minister can say. You are no longer the minister. You're not back to a member of parliament. He could fire you or not at a whip. But which he can do now.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning. Do you think it's fair that the opposition leader to get an increase in salary? Should not doing anything.
But
that's a good poll.
It's not about who is in the position. It's about the position.
Yeah.
Don't confuse it. Don't confuse it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is currently in the position and how you feel about them. The issue has to be the position.
But Richard, strange enough, the sentiment on social media is about Dr. Rowley, It's not about the Prime Minister, It's about Dr. Rowley and how he's managing the country. He don't deserve it. He this, he that. Oh.
Right, because people get emotional about those issues, and
Yeah.
we humans contextualize it by the human that currently occupies the office. But you have to take yourself out of it and look at it and say, it's the position, because anybody can fill that position. Once you're a citizen of this country, you can aspire to being prime minister of this country. Of course, once you have no convictions, etc., etc. But you can aspire. It's aspirational if you are into politics. The position is what holds the salary, as is the leader of the opposition. So you can't conflate it by looking at the people who currently occupy it. You have to look at it from a broader perspective of, is this legitimate for who occupies the office?
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
Well,
morning, Wendell.
Hey, Mr. Patrick, morning.
Right.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
I was watching through the paper yesterday, and I was watching the WhatsApp coming CEO. Salaries are $100,000 a month, plus perks, right? And then now we're talking about certain people in the government and opposition who don't get an increase as some amount percentage. But the little man who working out there, they give you how much percent in CPEP and all kind of things. And he can't go in the grocery. He can't even go in the grocery and buy food to eat for his children. And these government ministers and opposition, I think, I believe them just get perks too. Because all kind of car allowance and exemption from VAT and all kind of things. So, we find that thing making sense with them people paying about that. That's all. And one thing I was saying is that 1% for 15 years. There are 15 years. 1%. We're going into the 14, 15 years, 16 years just now. 1%. And no negotiation going on. But you get 2%. So I don't know. I don't know.
And you in that job for 33 and 30 years without fail, because the unions will ensure you stay right there. So those start me this morning, you know.
Where the union is do? Why don't understand how the union
that you remain in that job for 33 and 30 years. Not a soul could move you. Not an electorate could move you. You could sit down there, you could sit down behind your desk, and twiddle your pen for 30 years, and not a person could touch you.
You know why that happening? Because of the same minister and them, they will do what they do. The minister and them do what they do. That was created. They ain't bringing material, they ain't releasing money, they ain't doing plenty things. So the people are sit down, and they are appraisal.
A minister to bring material for you to look, Mr. Patrick.
You have a PS, right? You have a PS. The PS don't work with the minister.
You know what the PS salary?
Boy, but I talking about the minimum wage. The man can't go in the grocery. I talking that lady Friday. She said every week she go in the grocery, thing going up, and she living on minimum wage. She get frustrated, and not only them, plenty people. I was with that young lady. She said she has 2 degrees. Go to school and educate yourself. She has 2 degrees and she working in KFC.
Mr. Patrick, what part of the world are they living, boy? All right, you're right. Yeah, okay, bye.
All right, thanks, Mr. Patrick. Good morning.
Good morning again. Mr. Patrick, I was looking for you there. Mr. Patrick, people can't equate the Prime Minister's salary with a man working on the road. Come on. It's a man who has the whole country, this Twin Island state on his back, and all you feel is Dr. Rowley giving his salary. It's the salary reviews committee. If a man in Wassa could get over 100,000, 8,000 in housing and all that, but why the Prime Minister can't get that? All those big people in all those oil companies and all about getting much more than that. Come on, man. The people are so hateful. They so feel that it's Dr. Rowley go benefit. He alone not won't benefit, and it's not him. I'm suggesting that. So people be real. You can't give a man with nothing in his head that's sweeping the road. You want him to enjoy the same amount of money.
You can't go down the road.
You can't go down that. Don't go down that road with nothing in your head.
You're going down.
Because plenty of them who sweeping and doing menial jobs have plenty in the head.
Yeah,
and more in the head than some of them people who are in office. Yeah.
Plenty.
Yep.
And plenty suggestions.
Yep.
Don't get that. But should they have a fair wage? Absolutely. And as I said previously in the last hour, I don't think anybody should get less than $6,000 a month in this country. That's my opinion. I don't care what you're doing. That should be the base salary across everywhere. Yeah, we may have to pay more for some goods, but I think it's rightful and it's right that people should have a living wage.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentle people. One question, that included you too as an independent senator? And the second question.
All members of parliament.
Right, second question. I saw Gary Aboud in a video a couple of years ago stating that government ministers will be living off of the salary even though they retire. They begin the same wages, so which means the pension will be the same salary they get.
I think that to be true.
Presently. So I want to find out if that is true. If that is true,
that is not true.
It will deserve a raise, you know. But if it's not true,
that is not
deserve the raise because there are people in state companies getting 100 and something thousand. Even some of these president general in these unions getting 100 and something thousand. So if it's not true what Gary Aboud, the video he made, they deserve the raise. But if it's true, they don't deserve the raise. So
it's not true. Your pension after you serve a certain amount of time, because it's not even just about serving a term. Yeah, I think it's 2 terms, Paul, or a certain amount of time. You have to serve before you're entitled to pension.
I think senators is at least a year.
Wendell, the video was that
pension.
Passing legislation, you know. Say if the prime minister, you want to see that video?
I don't watch nothing Gary Aboud put out, except if he talking about place, the goods in that place he have there.
More than like.
Anyhow, have a pleasant day, gentlemen.
You too. Take care. All the best. Good morning.
If he advertising pillow and sheet and plants and thing, I'll watch it. If he talking politics and the nonsense he's talking, otherwise I don't want to hear it.
I find More Than Life is a wonderful store.
I find so too.
It is. I enjoy going there.
I find it's internationally impressive. I think foreigners
would
that's too.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Hey, Captain Ron. Good. How you doing?
Okay, I'm glad to be home. Listen, I'm trying to. Maybe one of you can answer.
Did you say you're glad to be home, Captain?
Of course, yeah.
He's in Orlando.
In Trinidad?
No, I'm in Florida. Let me say this. I'm trying to figure out why can someone justify why they need a raise right now, because I don't hear things about teachers getting raised, the officers, all government people, because it affects everybody. But I think if I was in their position, I would say let's the public, let's give them a raise first, the government workers, before we could consider it ourselves. I mean, it's people will always be upset about that. And then we have this problem with the crime problem in Trinidad. I'm concerned. I'm from Trinidad, and I still have family, and I have property, and everything there. So I'm always concerned about Trinidad today. Right? So I think that should be the first thing they should look at. What about the people? Let's see if we give them a raise first, and then we can come last. Because I don't think they're suffering, honestly. I don't think any of the ministers or whoever opposition is, they're suffering. So they're not in a dire situation where they need extra money right now. So what about the teachers? The teachers, I mean, they should. To me, if I had it my way, teachers would be making the same money that ministers are making. Police officers would be making the same money ministers are making. If you want to give them a raise, you give everybody a raise. That's how I see it. The country belongs to everybody, not just the ministers. Mm-hmm. But that's how I feel. But somebody can tell me if you can explain to me why they need a raise, why they feel they need a raise. All right, guys. Have a good one. Good to
Yeah,
hear you guys.
take care.
All right. Have a good day at home.
Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier in the program, that
Yeah.
the salaries of our politicians are among the lowest in the Caribbean, and it has not moved for a while, and it has not moved in a while, so it's not even in relation to the private sector kind of salaries that people would get in other jobs. Even some sectors of the public service, some contract people get higher salaries than even the Prime Minister and members of cabinet right now. You could just see the WASA CEO as an example.
Yeah.
If what is said is true. So oh my God. So I think it's all of that. It's a combination of all those factors. And remember, this is a job evaluation exercise that was done by the CPU's office, that went through all of the positions in the public sector and evaluated them against a scale.
And it's not, to respond, it's not they feeding it, they want to raise it. This is
it's not, they're not personally doing it.
Yeah.
Morning,
All right.
Steve. Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Steve. Morning, Dr. Paul. Morning, Wendell. Good morning to Richard.
Morning.
So, something, it kind of bothers me that like the new CEO coming into WASA getting 100,000. Some officials in government getting 100,000, 90-some thousand, 87,000 plus perks. But in order, I'm not sure if I agree with an increase or not at this time anyhow. But to attract good people, not the bunch we have. I ain't saying they ain't good, but to attract people who will do certain things how we want it. I think they money talks, right? Ask Elon Musk that, right? So for now, I don't think the salary should be raised. But I feel sorry for the other people below the politicians, the 41 politicians. Why can't the SRC have a separate thing? Now, I'm not talking about the independent senators. I find they should more than get a raise. More than.
It doesn't work like that. They assess all the positions.
Why? It had to be something different.
It includes judiciary, judges, chief justice, president.
Yeah, I know.
It's not about one. Yeah.
I know, but you see, from the time you say the prime minister getting a raise, that is where it ends for people. Some people, right? That is where it ends. That some people, why you must get a raise? So, but it's not this prime minister, it's whoever is the prime minister at the time, right? But I just find it unfair to just single out the prime minister. I find all supposed to get a raise because, that salary is too small. You are working hard, just like plenty people who work hard.
I didn't consider other salary. Remember, we considered part-time, we not consider full-time.
Right. I know but look at the councillors. That's why they can't do nothing for us because who working so hard not to get no certain money. No longer I want my road fixed, I can't get no money. They can't get no money to fix my road. That's what they tell you, right? But on the whole, I will say, I would agree, to a salary, but not at this time, and not because there's elections coming, because elections come, election go, nobody wants a prime minister, and as I say like them, nobody wants a prime minister to get an increase. But it's not just the prime minister alone. The other persons on the list, judges, everybody, right? So,
Ms. Dabadi, another consideration why, and this is just something I'm putting in the conversation. One of the parts of the conversation is when people look at the state of the country, if they feel, and this shouldn't really land in the lap of the prime minister or the judiciary alone. But when people look at the state of the country, they ask themselves, are they satisfied with how the country is going? And all those are parts of the conversation that ends into whether or not people should get a raise, they should get a raise and stuff like that.
Based on that. I know all of that. And what again, when you have constitutional reform, we should have referendum included because some of them, on government and opposition, they are not doing, some of them not doing nothing at all. And they will benefit. So some kind of caveat supposed to be added to any increase for anybody across the board, anybody. But I just feel sorry for the councillors, that's to tell you the truth.
Let me tell you something, Let me tell you something, because, as a member of the PNM, and an elected official over the years, the PNM governments have been cowards. They always afraid. If it was UNC or People's Partnership and Power, they get ourselves that raise and they don't care what you say. But the PNM will always be considerate and always listen to the public sentiment and blah, 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 blah. And nothing ain't going to happen. Which is why in local government, I maintain the only 2 improvements in local government came when the PNM was not in power. I maintain that they're always afraid to do things for the benefit of people. I don't know why. It has upset me no end. They talk about $100 million to help depressed communities. They ain't put it in place. They talk about so much money to improve East-West corridor and downtown Port of Spain. Nothing. Just do it, man, and to hell with all these people who talking and making us say that damn mischief with politics. It's getting me upset, you know. So this not going to happen. It didn't happen before, and it's not going to happen now. Government change by end of 2025, man, they will whine on all you, and everybody taking the raise. Watch and see. Wait and see. Mark my words. I'm in traffic, so I can afford to talk. Traffic on the bus route. Do you believe that?
Well, it is peak time. Of course, our guest tomorrow morning will be Dr. Terence Farrell. All right? So we'll talk salary again.
Well, they will crucify me. They will call him a PNM. They will say he's a this, or that. They will link him to some event he went to where the Prime Minister was at. Watch and see. Watch and see what they will do. They will link it to all kind of things as a PNM.
Good morning, gentlemen. Am I on yet?
Yes, morning.
Yes, you're on here. Good morning, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well, before making my contribution, I'd like to suggest that if you have a call-in program, you'll provide us, the listeners and viewers, with an opportunity to talk rather than we have a whole long dialogue among you hosts. It doesn't really assist me as a viewer to understand or even to get any information. Having said that, let me just correct you all with respect to one now of the responses you made. And that is that you were saying that the minister, that the pension is not the salary. And I'll let you know categorically that after one term as a minister, your pension is indexed to your salary. And if that salary increases, your pension also increases accordingly. Okay, so let's got that one clear. The second thing is, heard you all fulminating about the question of performance. And I am saying that the question of such an appraisal, there can be a mechanism whereby, and I mean it also helps in the development of the country, there can be a mechanism where the ministers are required to indicate, what the objectives of their respective ministries are, what they intend to increase over a period of time, and I would suggest it's periodically, quarterly, whatever you have. And when that time has passed, they should be given, which should be made available to the public, an account of to what extent they have achieved those objectives for their respective ministries. And if that has not been achieved, why not? And proposals for, achieving that objective in the future. Thank you.
Caller, don't go just yet. Don't go just yet. Is this the first time you're calling to the show?
No.
Yes, it's the first time I'm calling into the show.
I gathered that. Now you know the people on the show, right? You know Senator Dr. Paul Richards, you know Steve Khan, you know Richard Ragoobarsingh, and myself, Wendell. You know us, right? We don't know you. I gather that you are speaking from some position of authority. Would you care to share it with us?
Not really. Let's say that I have worked in a personal department, and I'm fully aware of all the
And is it that you said it is the pension is equal to the salary of a minister, MP?
After serving one term?
That's right.
It's equal to.
You can check. You go and check that out.
I'm just asking to clarify. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Okay then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Have a good day. Bye bye. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi again. I just want to say that you miss. I just given Richard this one. I find you get very opposing now towards me. You understand?
Oh gosh, you need to go and take some tablets.
I'm gonna deal with you, eh? That is not how Armenians behave. Right, good. Yeah, more have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye. Well, the beatum is a mess. Look at garbage came out on the beatum from that rain yesterday. Wow.
Yeah, they had to clean that up. A lot of, as I said earlier on, a lot of dust in the area too.
A lot of and plastic bottles. People, the plastic bottles ain't dropping from the sky. My goodness.
A lot of and food containers. Bottles and food containers is what comes up. All right, let's take our final call. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
What the guy call and say, that is a fact. Because I know that from the last time when they had the review of the salaries, some people were saying that the ministers and them and whoever, the judges and them, they can't live on the pension after they retire. When people started investigate that some of them salary based on what the salaries was the pension, but the man who retired, he had to live on 3,000 as pension. And most of them ministers and them have businesses all kind of.
Mr. Patrick, you're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. Paul, could you check for us? Because if I remember, this was a discussion last time. What constitutes a term in office? Because I know a lot of people were upset last time when terms were cut short and they did not qualify as a virtue of that. So, Paul, if you could check that, Mr. Patrick, be done with you. Yeah. Paul could check that. And if that caller who called in earlier on could clarify for us what constitutes a term in office. Because I think if it drops under the 5 years. Oh, Jesus. Mr. Patrick, I thought you'd take on Mr. Patrick. Steve.
Yeah. All right. That's it, Mr. Patrick. Thank you.
All right, that's good.
Right. All right, gentlemen. Wrap it up.
Sorry, if I may interrupt. Subject to the provisions of this act, it comes under the Retiring Allowances Legislative Service Act, Chapter 203 of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. Subject to the provisions of this act, a retiring allowance shall be paid to any person who A, has served as a legislator for periods amounting in the aggregate to not less than 5 years.
That's what I thought.
And B, has ceased to be a legislator. And C, either has attained the age of 55 years or not having attained the age of 55 years, has produced medical evidence to the satisfaction of the appropriate minister that he's capable by reason of infirmity of mind of discharging the duties of a legislature, and such infirmity is likely to be permanent. In determining for the purposes of the act the length of service of any person as a legislator, there shall be taken into account any former legislative service, although no contributions in respect thereof is payable, any service as head of mission. And for the purpose of this section, a person does not cease to be a legislator by reason only of the dissolution of Parliament. A person who immediately before the dissolution of Parliament was a member of the House of Representatives shall cease to be a member of that House of Representatives, of that House, if he's not elected as a member thereof at the general election next following the dissolution, and if he so ceases, shall be deemed to have ceased to be a legislator from the date of the dissolution.
So, Richard, take a pen right there. That's exactly my interpretation, my thought, that it must be a 5-year term. If the parliament is dissolved before the 5-year reaches, you do not qualify. That is what a lot of people were upset last time that happened. I remember that. So that's why I'm happy that you researched that and found it. The term is not just a term, it's a period of years. You understand? That's what I remember it being. So when you cut short a term before the 5 years, you do not qualify. And a lot of people got upset with that. So I'm happy you declared that.
It goes into a little bit much more information, but it's the Retiring Allowances Legislative Service Act, Chapter 203. I'm seeing it. I don't know if it has been amended. I assume it has been amended and updated, but it's what is referenced in the SRC report under the pension and superannuation benefits.
All right, gentlemen, we gotta go.
To refer to that.
Yep. All right, folks, have a wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God.
Yeah, so have a fantastic day. Whatever you do, remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. Have a great one.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Do have a great one yourself. All right, folks. I'm just waiting for Paul to walk in and get into our 8 o'clock news brief. That's what I'm waiting on right now. All right, he's going to walk in. I'm feeling the ground shake. Yep, the ground is shaking.
You have some real water.
Yeah.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It's 8:02 a.m. These are headlines today. Our Parliament will debate today new proposed nominees for the Police Service Commission. The EPA wants amendments to the Central Services Division and Special Tribunal of the Industrial Court. Former Deputy Central Bank Governor, economist Dr. Terence Farrell, is voicing the unpopular opinion that the salaries of the President, Prime Minister, Opposition Leader, and others should be increased. The desalination plant is back in service after shutdown and maintenance over the weekend, and President Xi Jinping says he will work with President-elect Donald Trump in a last meeting with President Joe Biden in Lima, Peru. Those are headlines to the hour. We have major news coming up at 12 noon.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right, thank you so much for Power Conversations with Dennise Demming. And good morning to your guest, Mr. Abood.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. Power Conversations is hosted by me on a Monday and a Wednesday from 8 to 9, and we just attempt to dig deeper into some issues in our country. Today, I welcome our guest, Gregory Abood. Thank you so much for giving us your time. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. Is it that the other moderators will not be on at this time?
No, it's just you and I on until 8:30.
Oh, as long as that. Okay. And what about the rest of them? They're not even listening in?
I don't know. But
you don't.
I'm here. I'm listening, Mr. Abood.
Okay, because Senator Richards has made some incisive and decisive and important interventions that speak to his rule of independence in the Senate, and which are so important to the country because, as I have always said, that, in our version of governance, the government senators are there to defend the government's position, and the opposition senators are there to attack whatever the government says and to raise the profile of their party. And who is there to represent the people of the country are supposedly the independent senators. So if if the independent senators represent us, the people, who do the others really represent, and why are they even there? So I really appreciate some of the interventions of Senator Richards, I would say over the last year that I have had, including some of the interviews he conducted in his parliamentary subcommittees and so on, of questioning some of what was happening and in asking for reasons why some of the ambivalence and lack of accountability is being allowed to flourish the way it is. But anyway, that was just why I was wondering if they were still there. So anyway, I'm not sure I have all the way to 8:30, but I will do my best, Dennise. So tell me what was on your mind.
That article that I saw in the newspaper about the impact of crime on Port of Spain, and that is what was on my mind. And my question is, how has crime affected businesses in Port of Spain?
Crime has had the same effect on business and on Port of Spain as it has had on every single citizen, because it has become pervasive and endemic. There is a sense of hopelessness which has pervaded, I think, ordinary people. I don't like to use the term ordinary because I think we're all equal in every sense of the word when it comes to issues like the governance of the country and the services which are provided to the people and so on. But when I say ordinary, I really am being victim to the age-old sort of characterization of all the different subsets of our country. You know, I would say when I say that, what I mean is every single citizen, regardless of social standing or regardless of economic standing, is feeling the very same impact. And I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but this morning on my way into the office, on the 7 a.m. news, I heard that a 22-year-old father of one, a fisherman, 24-year-old father of one, a fisherman, was shot to death in the bed that he was sharing with his 22-year-old common law wife and his 2-month-old baby. And I just feel overcome by emotion and sadness when I hear that, because I don't care what you want to tell me about gun-related and drug-related and this and that and the other thing. The society is falling to pieces because of the fact that we have started to become numb and accustomed and accepting of all of that happening among us. So crime is having the same effect on the city as it is having on everybody. It is destroying our confidence. It is hurting our sense of hope for the future. And it is creating a certain sadness which has enveloped many of us. All those people that you see dancing and whining and prancing and Juve in San Fernando and Parang here and all of that is an attempt to escape from reality, in my humble opinion. I don't see anything wrong with celebrations, but I am very, very circumspect about being celebratory, about celebrating about anything. I feel that it has affected us in a very negative way. If you look at the landscape of human behavior, if you consider the standards that are applied to quality of life indices, murder comes out at the top of all of the most abhorrent of social behavior. It comes out at the top of all of the most serious punishments of a society. It comes out on the very top. It's at the very top of the list. Murder. Murder is a criminal, crying tragedy, and we have become so accustomed. And the fact that a lot of the murder is poor on poor and black on black is even more complicated and more tragic, that a lot of us turn a blind eye to it, and we only get worried about home invasions and robberies, which are equally worrisome, of course. But the murder thing is a real destruction of our sense of hope for the future. I don't think, maybe I give you a very long answer to a very short question. Crime is having a very serious impact on the future of Port of Spain because people feel exposed, when they come and walk on public streets and city streets. People feel exposed when they go into car parks in shopping malls now, but unfortunately more exposed on city streets. We have a distracted city hall, and we have, I don't know, lip service being given to the issue of saving Port of Spain. And Port of Spain is a petri dish, if you like. If you look into a microscope and you look at the petri dish organisms of Port of Spain, you will see just a microcosm of the whole country. It represents everything that's happening in Trinidad. Yes.
Let's transfer a bit to all the negative that's happening. But why is it worthy for us to even try to save the country? Because this is a total issue that has been happening. So why should we save the country?
Well, I confess to being a little emotional about that question, because it's a question I ask myself a lot. Obviously, at the outset, a lot of people will be skeptical of somebody like me, either because I dress in a shirt and tie, or I own a business, or because my name represents a supposed subset of the society which has been, characterized as belonging to a particular percentage of people, or because I am supposedly more selfish or more self-seeking, or business people are, in the words of the 1970s, vampires, sucking the blood of the country and so on. So when I give you that answer about why Trinidad is worth saving, I recognize that there will be the skepticism that has greeted everything that we said. Everything that has been said, there will be skepticism about what I say. Why is it worth fighting for Trinidad? I don't think there is anything more noble that could be said about any person, about anyone at their time of passing, than that they love their country. I think that is the highest accolade that could be given to anyone. Is the greatest tribute that anyone could receive after his time on this earth has passed, is to be said or spoken of as someone who loved his country or loved her country. I think that has always been, in my mind, a distinguishing feature of great citizenship. And there's a lot to love about Trinidad and Tobago, a lot. There's a lot to love about our country, and there is a lot, in my opinion, worth fighting for. When we meet people, as I do, and I have the fortune of being on the streets of Port of Spain, unlike many others who have sort of transferred out or migrated, I should say, I have the advantage of rubbing shoulders with the people of the country, because a certain economic status takes people to malls and takes them out of the city. But people who use buses and, taxis and so on to move around, they need the city to use it as a transport hub. And we meet those people on the streets of Port of Spain, as I do. And they're all beautiful people. I don't meet any gang members. I don't meet any robbers and criminals. I see some of them. I don't meet them. The majority of people that I meet are lovely, decent, enjoyable people. And I'm happy to be here among them. I'm happy to be in Trinidad. Yes, it is true that, I may have a tree here that is bearing fruit, and therefore I have a vested interest in watering that tree and taking care of, my source of income and so on. But it's equally true that many in my category have divested and sold, and migrated. That is also true. And sometimes when I hear some of the things that are said, and some of the things we say about each other, That crosses my mind. Some of the, which is something that I find, Dennise, that is a real injury to our country, is that when we are talking about issues, as they were recently just on this program talking about a proposed pay hike for the government and the judges and all these people and so on, that we talk about each other more than we talk about the actual issue. It's always personalities that make their way into the program. And yes, it is true that different political entities have different approaches, and that maybe this particular government is more sensitive to feedback from the public about, taking any benefit or any. Yes, I agree with the caller who made that comment. I was listening before you joined me into the program. But it's all about the personalities, what he did and what she did and what they will do and what we get and what they get and so on. Nobody's talking about the country. Nobody's speaking about Trinidad and Tobago. If you listen to any conversation about flooding, about a union dispute, about crime, about anything you listen to the commentary. The commentary is always about us, them, he, she, and everybody else. Nobody ever mentions Trinidad and Tobago, our country, the future of our country, our love for our country, our worry for our country, our hopes for our country, our desires and aspirations for our country. Nobody talks about our country. Everybody talks about their point of view, their interest, their group, and so on. And for me, it's a little painful, to be honest, because in a majority of cases, I'm a minority sitting on the fringes, spectating between the two major groups. But every so often, the guns get focused or swung over to me or to my community, and some of the things that are said are so ugly and hurtful and rude, that you really understand that sort of discussion causes backlash and cynicism and causes people to become bitter and to lose their sense of focus about the greatness, the potential greatness of our country. No discussion about Trinidad and Tobago, just about us and each other, him and they. So that's another long answer I gave you there.
I appreciate your long answers because your long answers are giving us information. So, for example, this conversation about talking about the personality and not the country. How could we begin to transition away from talking about the personality and start to talk about what are the things we need to do as a country? How do we improve our country?
Well, I think in a simple answer, one word answer to you about how can we improve the dialogue, I would say leadership. I would say that every time anyone who has the privilege, as I do this morning, of speaking with you, I'm presuming on air. This is not for television, is it?
No, this is on air. This is live.
This is radio, right?
It is radio and social media.
And social media. So I have that privilege. That's a very important privilege that has been given to me, that I have to make use of for the greater good of people, not for my personal gain or from the interest of one particular subset. I think it's incumbent on anyone who is given that privilege. And leaders have to understand that the privilege of leadership and the privilege of having a microphone in front of them is sacred in the interest of people, that you have to say things that have a chance of helping people, not helping your people, helping everybody. And if helping us to understand what your people are going through is going to be important for the country, then tell us, and we will listen, instead of you telling us how selfish and wicked and evil everybody else except you is. And so it's leadership. You have to talk about everybody. I always remember an important note from the story of Gandhi. Of course, because of my involvement with you in the TED Talk and so on, that I was a great follower of Gandhi And so was Martin Luther King, by the way. And Mandela also quoted Gandhi. And when it became apparent that India was going to become independent, and Gandhi had offered the first prime ministership to a minority member of the Indian society who was Islamic, there were riots and violence all over India. And Gandhi went on a fast, and he was very, very debilitated and near death because he kept to his fast. And thousands and tens of thousands of people gathered around his home, Hindus, to beg him to come off of his fast to save himself. And one peasant farmer made his way through the crowd and forced his way into the house and came to his bedside and said to him, I confess to you that I killed a Muslim boy, he said to Gandhi. And for that sin, I know that you are fasting, and I don't know what I can do. Gandhi said to him, Gandhi said, take your own child and raise him as a Muslim boy. Gandhi said to this Hindu man. So I find that I am always inspired by those who see the equality and the beauty in others. And leadership requires that. Gandhi was a great leader. We need great leaders to set that example to us about the greatness of Trinidad and the importance of every subset of Trinidad. Every subset has an importance, and that is what has to happen. And example is important also, Dennise. You want to know what will raise the level of debate and cause us to start talking about Trinidad and Tobago instead of talking about each other. Example is important as a step to always speak that, I don't talk about my personal needs or my business. I'm speaking about the city of Port of Spain. You want to come into Port of Spain and snatch a bracelet from a woman. She's going to tell 25 friends, 10 cousins, 2 uncles, 3 sisters. She's going to tell everybody. You're snatching one gold chain is going to cause 50 people not to come to Port of Spain and destroy 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 jobs of people who could have got a job or got to work in Port of Spain will not get that job because you came here and snatched one chain or one bracelet off a woman's hand and caused that news to spread far and wide. I don't talk about you. I talk about the city of Port of Spain, the impact that you are having on the city, not the impact you're having on me, the impact you're having on Port of Spain, on our capital city of our country. That's what I speak about. People have to start speaking about their city, their country, and so on, instead of speaking about themselves and the others and them and us and we and they and so on. So anyway, that was my answer, leadership.
That's the answer to that. And as we come towards the end of our interview, what would you do if a miracle happened and you could transform Port of Spain? What would you do?
Well, what a question. If a miracle happened and I could transform it, I would try to instill order and fairness to the streets. I would recognize that the streets weren't designed for what they're being used for. I would recognize that the most important contributor to the city of Port of Spain, bar none, regardless of what you say, is the consumer. The customer is more important than anybody else. And I would say that making the streets orderly and safe during the day will help us to restore order and safety at night. I would say that making the streets convenient for the customer would force us to rehabilitate public and municipal parking. And I would say that we recognize that there is a need to give others an opportunity to make a living on the streets but not in the chaotic, hungry and angry way that's being done now, in which commerce is being destroyed. As you know, if you walk down Charlotte Street, or you walk up Henry Street or down Frederick Street, you will see the economic weakness that has caused. And if you came to the promenade and saw what they're doing to Mr. Manning's promenade, which is named after Mr. Lara, City Hall is doing it. City Hall is renting space on the promenade. And you see the fact that there's not a blade of grass in what Mr. Manning told me personally was his desire to give the people of East Port of Spain a green space and a place where they could bring their children on a Sunday afternoon. If you go and you see that, you will understand the type of transformation that I would hope to see. Port of Spain cannot be used as an instrument of social justice, because when you hurt the consumer and you hurt the business people, you destroy the city. You can't have a city without thriving commerce, and you can't have thriving commerce without the consumer. And those are the simple facts for all those sitting down in City Hall who may or may not hear what is being said this morning. You are betraying your country and your city by thinking you could use the streets to bring equality to citizens and give them a chance and so on. You're destroying your country and your city. And that's so strange, because politically, you are willing to allow a man to go in front of KFC and sell doubles and tell the customer, why are you going in there to buy? And look, I have the doubles, and look, I have the soft drink here. You go put you $3 for the soft drink in there. Look, I give you for $2.50. Right? They're allowing people to compete right in front of the business place. The politicians are allowing that, and they would not allow somebody in an opposition T-shirt to come within 250 meters of a polling station. How long is it? How far away from the polling station do you have to be on election day if you're wearing an opposition T-shirt or if you're wearing a political T-shirt? Hundreds of meters. You will be arrested by the police if you come near a polling station in a political T-shirt. But you could come outside a man's business and prohibit the customer from going inside and then ask him to pay property tax and so on. I have nothing against trying to allow people in a controlled manner to earn a living, but we have to make the city thriving, because by the way, hot news to City Hall, they're not selling a lot either anymore, all these people you're trying to help, because customers are not coming, and your effort to try and be an arbiter of social justice is egg on your face. Go look in the mirror and see all the egg that's all over you in trying to do that, because you're destroying the cake by trying to slice a bigger piece off for some and telling the business people them don't have enough already and everybody have to get a share and so on. So I would like to transform Port of Spain and make it a place we could be proud of. I was at the launch of the cruise ship. The Ministry of Tourism is doing such a good job. And I was down there and I saw thousands of people pouring out of that cruise ship. And I want them to like Port of Spain as much as they like Bridgetown, Barbados. I want them to like Port of Spain as much as they like Castries, St. Lucia, or Montego Bay in Jamaica. I want people to love our city when they visit us, and I want them to be safe and welcomed and accepting of our city. So that was my answer to your question about what would I do if by some miracle. It doesn't need much to change, you know. It just needs leadership. People who understand the big picture and the long story and stop this independence game of us and them, you know. Anyway,
so as we come to an end,
yes,
what would you like us to just remember from the last half an hour?
I think that the most important thing that we should remember is that when we speak about us and them and our own personal interests, and when we talk about what we want, and never bring Trinidad into the picture, Trinidad and Tobago, which is a big subject because Tobago is a hot mess. What is going on in Tobago and all this talk and all the Tobagonians making demands and so on. That is another hot mess. But for the time being, when we talk about Trinidad and Tobago, we have a much better chance of making ourselves better off in the future than when we talk about our own personal needs. Speak about the country, and you have a much better chance of living a better life and giving your children a better life in the future.
Thank you ever so much,
Thank you.
Mr. Aboud, for being with us, and we wish you all the best. And I
Thank
certainly
you.
am taking away that we need to transform our leadership if we are going to make a difference to our country. Thank
Absolutely, but leadership begins with you. It begins with each citizen. If everybody's a leader in their own way, be nice to the next person you meet, be kind to the taxi driver, tell the cashier in the grocery store thank you. Do your part to be a leader in building our country by being kind to each other and create the type of atmosphere that you want to live in your own personal space, and it will spread. Kindness is contagious.
you.
It's time for more kindness to each other. So anyway,
Thank
season's
you.
greetings to you and everybody listening to your program for a blessed, holy season of peace and love. And may I please repeat the words of my dear departed father, who always said, there can be no happiness without peace and no peace without forgiveness.
Wow.
So please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. And please let us push on with the job of being kind to each other and of helping to recognize that our country is greater than we are.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you very much. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Let's continue our conversation, but I'll just break for a while to ensure that my next guest is on with us.
There is a connection between government policy and law in the sense that all laws start as some type of government policy. So, for example, in Trinidad and Tobago, we would have had the recent national policy on persons with disabilities. And that policy talks in very strong terms about the need to both enact laws to provide for the human rights of persons with disabilities. It also talks about the need to amend laws that we have on our statute books right now that discriminate against persons with disabilities. So once that policy is adopted and approved by the cabinet, then the process of making it a law can begin. The difficulty with the policy remaining as a policy, two things. One, it's not enforceable. So it does not really give you any rights legally because it's just a policy, it's not a law. And the other thing is that policies can change over time. Policies can change over time as the needs of the government or the focus of the government itself changes. It can change if the government itself changes, so that it's not enough for us to say, well, we have a policy. We have to take that further step to make the policy a law, because that is what will give full protection for the human rights of persons with disabilities.
But you see, the whole point is that we now have a convention that says that a person with disability has all of the rights of anybody else. And the Trinidad and Tobago government, because it has signed up to that convention, is bound to create laws or to create legislation that ensures those rights. I think that's pretty wonderful. What do you think?
Oh, it's a pretty good idea.
Thank you so much, Eileen.
Thank you, Jean.
Let's look to the future.
I believe that without legislation in Trinidad and Tobago, pretty much nothing gets done. And when it comes to people with disabilities, legislation will assist by way of education and especially employment.
Hi there, and welcome to
Dennise.
Salcedo. Michael, are you with us? Are you hearing me? Okay, he's not with us, but Michael is an excellent musician and someone who has a tremendous possibility to make a difference to our country. All right, Michael, let's just fix the camera so that we see you a little better.
Yeah, just now. Okay.
Michael Salcedo, one of our excellent panelists. So, Michael, welcome to our program this morning. And thank you so much for being with us. How did you get into playing the steel pan?
Say again?
How did you get into playing the steel pan? How did you get there?
Steel pan would have been, I mean, through school, as I guess most people. That's really what the beginning was. Uh, my heaviest beginning really was secondary school, starting with school panorama, and then music festival back then, and graded exams and stuff like that. That was my actual introduction into steel pan.
Tell us a little bit about where you are now. What do you play? Where do you play? Where are you now?
Where did I?
Where are you now in terms of steel band? Where do you play and so on?
I don't do steel bands.
Okay.
And I saw Dane Gulston recently, and we just sitting chatting, and I told him, you know, like my entry really wasn't so much steel band. It was the solo, because I came up more in the music festival kind of vibe rather than panorama as such. You know, so yeah, there's always been a kind of solo thing.
Yeah. So you're a solo panist. And how is that for you now? Where are you playing? Who's hearing you?
Right now, I play on ships.
Yes.
I play on
Tell us
ships.
about that. Tell us about that. That you play on ships. How is that?
It's all right. It's good. It's good. It's kind of great because I get to do a much wider range of music. A lot of stuff that's kind of really more up my alley. I get to showcase the pan in some different lights as well. Because even like when I'm out there and I play a calypso, I play a soca, yeah, people enjoy the song. But it is really when you play the Anita Baker, the Shaka Khan, and I'm big on melodies, so I'm kind of big on playing it as you know it, so that you can sing along with it. So yeah, when you do that, that's when people really stop and pay attention, because it should be impossible, basically. You know, so yeah.
When you say it should be impossible and you use the word Anita Baker, when you say it should be impossible, explain what you mean by that.
It's just that it goes against the nature of the instrument. So the instrument is clearly percussive. So there's some songs that the singer may have like an airy kind of voice, and my aim in playing is to get the instrument to mimic that airy kind of voice. It's a percussive instrument, you know. that's really kind of difficult to do. It's almost as though it doesn't really happen, but because you are putting so much energy into the plane and so much thought, you're kind of hoping for some telepathy to happen so that they kind of feel what it is you're trying to do. Um, so, so that's really what I mean by that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's a song, a pretty modern song, "Best Part" by Daniel Caesar and her, which made its rounds doing its thing. It was a hit, and that's usually my one of my heavy go-to songs. When I start explaining to them, um, what the instrument can do and stuff like that.
So you are really communicating to the world about what this instrument is by the work that you're doing. So, what would you recommend to a young person who is a panist? What would you suggest to them? Should they continue? Should they walk away? What should they do?
By all means, continue. What I would suggest is to recognize, for them to recognize early on that your crowd may not be here. And that is what it is, because naturally, when you're coming up in the field, you try to stay home, and do your thing there. But the truth about it is, it may not be that you're meant to stay home. You may probably need to leave, and that is what it is. So yeah.
So you are suggesting that there are opportunities for panists abroad. Okay, so Mikhail has just popped out, and it may be just the internet that is doing that. But it's interesting that Mikhail is saying that there are opportunities abroad, and his suggestion to young people who are panists are that they may have an opportunity outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Mikhail is also saying that he represents this country without doing so formally, but he simply represents this country because he plays the pan on a cruise ship and he plays different kinds of music, so that what you're having is the incorporation of the pan into international sounds and different kinds of music. I'm hoping that Mikhail will pop back on. And here he is. Thank you very much for popping back on, Mikhail.
Yes,
So you were saying that for young people who are panists, there are opportunities abroad. Yes. So
Yeah,
tell us a little
abroad.
bit.
I mean, there are opportunities. There are opportunities everywhere. Um, so it really just depends on what type of player you are, or what type of player you intend to be. What I've recognized is in the Caribbean, we tend to kind of stifle what the instrument plays. So usually, when I was younger, just starting off in the solo scene and playing for tea parties or whatever, as soon as I'm introduced to the stage, and I'm walking, the people gonna ask, "You're gonna play these melody or what? Like Panini minor, and da-da-da-da." And it's like, y'all do know that this instrument, because we boast about it. That which is the real funny thing for me. We boast that the instrument can play everything and da-da-da-da-da, but the only thing you actually requested to play is calypso or soca. So yeah, it really just depends on where you would like to go. Even when I'm out on ship and I have Caribbean people come on board, I had one person told me, "You have this beautiful instrument and you're only playing white man music." Yeah, and I was like, because at that point in time I was not playing soca in that particular set. It was nothing to do with soca, and I was like, "Yeah, you stifle the growth. You stifle the growth. You actually contribute to having people lock the instrument in geographically. Because once people hear it, all they think is Caribbean. No, I mean, you want people to know where it's from. But at this present time, nobody knows where the guitar is from. Only guitarists who probably have done the research. No one knows where the piano is from. Like, no, and nobody asks. Nobody cares. They just want the music. You know, so yeah, it really just depends on what you want to go into. If you know you like your soccas and stuff like that, then Trinidad is going to be the best place for you, sir. Or somewhere that is heavily Caribbean, um, with a heavy Caribbean population. So you have your New York, you have your major cities in the US, in the UK, or wherever it is. But then you have Southern America, where you can get a lot more things opened up to you. Normally, when I sail out to this, I prefer to sail out to the south, and by the south, not including Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, that kind of thing, because I actually get about 3 genres opened up to me to perform. When I'm sailing out of Florida, I'm sailing out of Baltimore, I'm actually way more limited in terms of what they are willing to accept. Because when you're sailing out of a place, you generally get people from there or from the surrounding states, kind of like. And the Southerners, they have these genres that generally only they listen to, you know? So now it expands my repertoire when I'm there. I've tried playing it in Florida. I was like, nah, all right, nah. We don't really rock with that, you know. So yeah,
So
they really need to know that there's a world of an audience, and if you're not getting your thing here, it's fine. You can leave and get your audience out there. Because like being a classical player, you wouldn't be able to do it in Trinidad.
Yeah.
If classical music is your thing, you'll be a teacher soon. Yeah. You'll be a
So
teacher. You wouldn't be a
Miguel,
player.
you talked about sometimes getting 3 genres of music that you have to play. Could you just take us through one of them?
So there's one in particular they call it blues, but it is not. So they call it either blues or southern soul, but it is not our idea of blues. So it's not the BB King type blues. Um, it is really soul music. That's generally what it is. But it's I don't know how to explain it, man. It's like R&B. It's like R&B, but it's not sexy R&B. It is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's really just soul music. So when I heard about it, I was confused when they asked me if I know any blues, and I was like, "You mean BB King, that kind of thing?" And they were like, "No, no, no, like King George and Tucker. You have any Tucker?" I'm like, "Who are these guys? I don't know them." Um, so when I started researching the music, like, yo, this like any regular soul song, you know, but they call it blues, and it's a thing. Like it's a heavy. There was another term that they had for it, and I can't remember it now because just before I came home, one of the artists of that genre was on board. Um,
So
so you had a lot of. Sorry.
I'm saying while you think through what's the name of that, here's a question that I'm interested in. Do you read music?
Yeah.
So is that a key requirement that you must be able to read the music?
No. Um, no. No. On board? No. For my position? No. Reading music comes in handy for me because I take requests like crazy. Like as fast as you call a request, if I don't have it, I'm gonna try to find it, try to learn it, and play it. Because that as well helps me to widen my repertoire. Because it might just be you alone want that song. But as far as in my head, if you want that song this week, then probably next week someone else may actually like that song. And I've seen it work time and time again where there are songs people record. There's a song called Before the Rain by Lee Oscar. Instrumental song. I will not expect for them to. It's an older song. And there are times I've played it as a surprise to see if, because I'm always trying to feel out the crowd. I played it to see if there's anybody in the crowd, and sometimes they see some younger people um, stepping out to it, doing the step that particular is a particular style of dance that they do to it. But so in cases like that, the guy who requested that song, uh, my memory doesn't work as well as it used to, even when it comes to music. So when 10 years ago I could have played with 15 Panorama band, now maybe one band alone will make me feel like it's 10 bands of music I learned. So you ask me for a song, I will literally go and write it out uh, on one of the music programs on my tablet, and I will sight read the song the next day. Now, I don't fully need to sight read it because the time it takes me to write it out, while I'm writing it out, I'm learning it. Because I have to keep playing it over and over to make sure this is correct, make sure that's correct. Okay, so I'm always hearing it. Um, so by the time I'm done with that, I pretty much know about half the song. So that's where the reading comes in handy for me. So it's just that for speed learning.
Yeah. And Mikhail, my question is, where do you see the future of Pan?
So the future of Pan is great. The future of Pan in Trinidad is great. All the same. I think it is very easy for us to end up in a situation where it is other people that are carrying the instrument, which actually is no problem. There's no problem with that happening. But yeah, it may end up in a situation where there are other people outside of Trinidad that are actually carrying the instrument to its future. Because we are so, I think that's going to happen because we tie the instrument into other things locally, and we try to use those other things to export the instrument when you should be exporting the instrument by itself. It has nothing to do with soca. It has nothing to do with calypso. It's just an instrument. It's not a calypso instrument. It's not a reggae instrument. And that is what we've been doing for years. We've been latching it onto these things, like, because we don't latch soca onto it. Soca is not the music for Pan. You know, we never latched it. We never created the combination that way. Soca is soca, and you export your soca, and that's the end of that. Pan is pan. Export the pan. It's just an instrument. Just export the instrument without trying to tie it in so heavily into the music of the country. You know, which is why in 2024 we still have people. There's people in Trinidad. I didn't know Pan could have played that, you know. Come now.
Yeah.
Come now. You mean you didn't know? What you mean? And you're an adult? And you didn't know? Like, come on. Then that means you're keeping the thing back. You're helping to keep the thing back. So, I think Pan's future is great. I don't know how much Trinidad players will be involved in whatever is the future of Pan that we see. I can't say.
You can't say that.
Because but we are part to play as well, the musician as well, you know. So, because the purpose of the musician really is to push the tape. You are the artist. You are the artist. And you have the vision. So, but right now it's a little bit kind of like the audience has the vision,
yeah,
and the artist just following that vision, which is, you know, you play what the audience wants. I always had a thing for me where you hire me for a gig, yes, I play what you want because you hired me for the gig. When I'm doing my show, I'm now the artist.
So
I am presenting my work.
So, Mikhail, as we come to an end of this program, what would you like our audience to remember?
Pan is an instrument. It's not. I want to say take the Caribbean out of the instrument. I know that's a difficult thing to say, you know, and that's backlash worthy. But yeah, take the Caribbean out of the instrument. It's just an instrument like any other. Just let it play.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mikhail. And my takeaway is that Pan is an instrument, and we need to continue to support it and make it into an instrument similar to things like the piano, things like the guitar, things like the violin. It is an instrument. Thank you ever so much, Mikhail, for being part of this program. And we look forward to seeing you again. Power Conversation. See you on Wednesday.